Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to episode 3 of the Cable Trash Cast. I'm your host, Occult Tooner. And introduce yourself, guest. We'll start from top to bottom. So, Alex, go first.
Oh yeah,
Uh
just oh sorry.
I'm hold up, look at your screen, look who's first. I'm kidding. Who's the one called number two, huh? I'm kidding. You're number one to me. Uh
Oh,
Alex the Menace. I don't know. I exist. I have a presence somewhere. Just find my name somewhere, you'll find something. Hopefully not in the obituary or the law enforcement stuff, but you know.
Oh,
right. Um, I am the other Alex. I go by Alex Likes Toons. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. My main thing is doing VTubing right now. I'm hoping I can produce some YouTube content soon, and Twitter is where I go to post garbage.
I'm a Hollow Slayer. I like comics and I make comics. You can find them on Instagram and Newgrounds and all that stuff. They're called a Groony. I make videos and animations sometimes. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, cool. Again, I'm just your host, Tuner. I make 3D animations sometimes, and I draw sometimes and post it on Twitter probably once a month, maybe once a year if I feel like it.
mood. And I am Pale Iguana, or Pale for short. You can find me on Twitter at the Aquatic Bunny, and I do art. And yeah, yes, that's it. I'm done.
Just art. That's it.
That's it. Just art.
I'll
How
I'll
would you
I'll put the links on the description on this video.
How would you feel if you had like a little character version of you that was a little iguana?
I would hug it.
Eh,
I will make it a marker little plushie.
Yes.
Yes.
Hell
Buy
yeah.
my merch.
Buy
Isn't
that
it just
merch.
ironic that my Twitter thing is Aquatic Bunny, but the name I go by is Pale Iguana. I
Both are very good. Both are
Yeah, I
very
like
good
both.
screen names. They roll off the tongue well. They don't have any numbers in them.
What are you talking about? My name is Noob Destroyer 7225.
Muff Muncher 420.
Where's the XX on the end of those names?
XXX.
XX
Girl
underscore
501 or
XX underscore Dwarven Taliban 345.
underscore XX.
Nice. You know, there needs to be like a porn star that calls himself Sex XX.
Lil Nas X, that's his porn parody name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
That's
today's
yes.
topic is gonna be B movies and
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
B movie. We're gonna talk about B movie for the whole however long this lasts.
We're gonna
We're
talk
gonna-
about the deep B movie lore that we all know and love.
Quentin already did that.
Starting
We're gonna end this with a cover of "We Got the Bee."
The Mighty B theme song.
The Mighty
it's
Beast.
Hip to Fuck Bees.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Bumblebee.
Buzz buzz. But yeah, so anyway, what do you think about Jerry Seinfeld?
I know nothing about him.
He's a
What
little
is the
flaky.
deal?
He's a little flaky in real life, but
He's funny, but
Seinfeld's
he's an
funny.
ass.
He's
Yeah.
funny and what?
And there was that one time he was with Barack Obama in a car, and they argued or something.
Sounds like the setup to a joke.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, I
was
know. It was like
actually
comedians in cars getting coffee.
Barack Obama is not a comedian.
I don't know when he took out those people with that drone. That was pretty funny.
Jeez.
Anyway, time for like a real the real topic.
Yes.
Like
Sorry.
B movies as in like low budget theatrical films. So first topic, to go to is worst ones you've ever seen. We'll go again like top to bottom. So like Alex and Menace.
The
What's
worst
the
one I've ever seen.
yeah?
Oh, this is gonna be easy. It's the former king, well, the king of B movies, kinda, or I don't know, Ed Wood, not the movie, but the director Ed Wood, because I saw like a couple years ago, I saw Plan 9 from Outer Space, and
Classic.
I was expecting it to be like a fun sort of like movie, like I don't know, because it's like considered so bad it's good. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be cheesy but really fun. And then I watched it and I was just really bored for the hour and 15 minutes or whatever it
You
lasts. And I was
you
like,
were expecting The Room, but from the 50s.
well, even The Room is kind of boring when Tommy Wiseau isn't on screen. But yeah, I was expecting something like that, and it's like maybe there's like one joke that made me chuckle. Or there's like an alien that goes for some weird reason. They're kind of like Star Trek people where they like don't have I've never seen Star Trek, but I know enough like or they don't really show emotion in that way. Uh
Oh,
or something
like
like
Data from Star Trek. I think it's Data.
yeah, they don't show emotion. They like intentionally don't show emotions. Like that's kind of their thing. Some of those characters,
Oh,
and I was like, these aliens don't have emotions because they're like super hyper intelligent. They're like they're too smart. But then at one point, this alien's like, "You're stupid, 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 stupid," or something for some
You have
reason. Like
stupid
a little,
minds. Stupid. Stupid.
yeah, that. And it sounds like a little kid, and it's like that was kind of funny, but I don't know.
I quote that
That
all the
movie,
time.
yeah, you can. I mean, that movie's pretty infamous for various reasons, so you can probably look into it. And it's not even like my problem isn't like the reasons people criticize like, oh, it's cheap. You can see strings on like certain the UFOs and like the cardboard sets and like the pilot's cabinet or cabin or whatever it's called where pilots are. Like they're just sitting in like dinner table chairs instead of like pilot chairs. It's like it's not for that. I just find it really like its pacing is horrendously slow and not like it's intentional. It's just
it
really slow and
I get it. Like I've
Yeah.
seen it as well as
oh, you've seen it.
it's even though it's what like an hour long.
It's like an hour 15. It's pretty short.
It feels like 4 hours. It drags on so long, but I get it. Anything
Yeah,
else?
it's just oh, at least for least favorite. Well, I mean, first of all, before we continue, because there's like definitions. Like some people have the definition of a B movie, it's like what Ed Wood is, and then some people have the definition of like it's just a cheap movie. But I don't think that's always accurate because I don't know what do we consider to be B movies. I guess before I say anything, because I could, you know.
I feel like a B movie is something that wants to be a huge blockbuster or be an this like artistic piece, but some aspect of the formula is missing, whether it be budget or talented writers. You know, something that would make it what they want it to be is kind of missing, whether it be purposefully or just by accident.
I've always considered a B movie literally a movie that is basically Plan B. It's the backup picture. It's something. It's cheaper. It's usually very fucking weird, and yeah, it can be anything between like grindhouse and art house, really.
Yeah, well, that's
It doesn't
also the
have to
thing
be.
because it's like if we're counting that stuff, like is Texas
Space
Chainsaw
Jam: A New Legacy.
Massacre? That's an expensive ass movie. Shut up. I'm saying is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Would you consider that a B movie? Because it
It
kind of
put
falls
up at
into
one
this.
budget of 40,000.
I I would consider Texas Chainsaw like the first one at least, and definitely the second one. Definitely
Yeah,
the second one. B movies.
the second one has a more B movie vibe. Like
Oh, definitely.
more common B
Well,
movie
the
vibe.
thing about B movies is that they can technically be anything from like very artsy fartsy, thought provoking intrigue to there's this there's this turtle and it's a giant turtle and it has rockets and it eats fire and we shoot it into space this one
Yes.
time.
Yeah, I love Godzilla.
I did.
Um,
I actually. I was when I was visiting some friends in Missouri. We watched the original Godzilla, the Japanese cut.
Yeah.
We watched King of Monsters and then Shin Godzilla.
They're very different from each other.
They're all.
Shin Godzilla's that's the one that came out like in 2016 or something, right?
Yeah, that one's like.
Oh, that one's
that one
more
was
in
the-
common with the original, but
Yeah, that one's it's kind of like a hard reboot.
It's the boring one.
boring.
I don't think Shin
Eh,
Godzilla is boring.
I thought it was kind of boring.
Like-
The original movie's really good, though. That's the
The
only one
original is a masterpiece.
the only one I've seen of those of the Japanese ones is the 1954 3 original, and that one's really good. But yeah.
Like, and that's one thing I noticed about a lot of B movies is like, in B movies, a lot of the time subtlety will just go right out the window.
Well,
But,
I mean, well, yeah.
and like,
Wait.
I think it's one of the things that makes them so fun and so memorable, just because how like bold and forward they are with like the messages they want to show.
Night of the Living Dead is a B movie. I would consider it.
Oh yeah, totally.
yes.
It's a smart B movie though, but yeah.
Yeah,
I think Night of the Living Dead qualifies as like an artsy fartsy B movie.
Well, B movies typically aren't like art house stuff. Like you can kind
Right.
of consider Pulp Fiction a B movie, but it's clearly not functioning under that. Like it's a lot smarter in its structure and whatever. But
right.
oh, but I got another really bad one if this counts. 'Cause I saw this last Christmas. This past Christmas. The Star Wars Holiday Special. That's really terrible. It's not fun.
It's wonderful. I love it.
Wait, what
Oh.
movie?
The Star Wars Holiday Special. Well, it's a TV movie, but the Star Wars
Oh,
Holiday
yeah.
Special. I was expecting it to be funny, and it's just
Remember,
boring.
stir whip, stir whip, stir whip, whip,
Stir
Whip Star Beat.
Stir whip, whip, stir whip.
And B. Arthur pours water into a volcano head.
There's also the grandpa jerking off to like VR porn.
Oh yeah, like straight up.
I was about to mention that.
It's literally
Straight
VR porn.
And the thing is, he's in like the living room, and he's not
Yeah.
even hiding it.
In front of the child.
I like
In
to
front of
imagine that's what.
Lumpy, in front of poor Lumpy.
Oh no, not Lumpy. That's why.
reminds me
That's why he
of-
contemplated suicide on the railing.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say that scene reminds me of some comment I read many years ago on YouTube of I know this is gonna sound like a stretch, but bear with me. When the grandpa from the Rugrats, like he's like lonely space fictions. That's for after you kids go to sleep, like that part. I remember some comments saying like, what if like the grandpa like the kids and the parents went out on Grandpa Lou's day to watch like Lonely Space Vixens, and like the parents came home and just jerking off in the living room.
Oh
That's
my
what
God.
that's what I picture it like. That's what I picture.
You know what? The
Cut
man-
this out.
That late in it,
No,
look,
that stays
look.
here.
Look,
I don't know
that
what
late in his life, and the man can still get his motor running. More power to him.
That's what I was gonna say. I would be surprised if he could even get it up, man.
The man has
Hey,
peculiar.
man,
He knows the man
that-
knows what he likes, and he's still active in his age.
That
I
man,
mean,
Go on,
that
kid.
man walked 15 miles back and forth every day. Okay, he has
Lonely
that.
space vixens.
He has that endurance.
In the original show, he was like a World War II veteran, but now he's like a freaking hippie.
I fought 15 wars.
I killed 100 men, 15 miles back and
I killed,
forth.
I
I
killed
have
Fitty.
the-
I killed Fitty,
I
man.
have their scrotums under my bed.
Tree fitty.
350. I killed 50 men in Vietnam.
I've got 15 tumors.
All right.
I remember that one
B-movies.
episode of. Oh yeah, I was gonna go.
Reptar is Godzilla.
A B movie. Yeah, B movies.
All
The
right.
worst B movies.
It's Alex and Menace. Anything else to add?
Oh, I think for worse, those are the two because Play 9 is and the holiday special are just really like painful to sit through. They're just so slow. Probably those ones, yeah.
All right, cool. How about you, Alex? Too.
Worst B movie I've seen. It's tricky. Like I would consider one movie that I saw that I don't really like very much that has the feeling of a B movie is Jurassic World Fallen
Oh,
Kingdom.
like hold on, don't think Jurassic Park's the worst.
No. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if it
okay.
qualifies as a B movie because it has such a massive budget behind it and all this stuff, but it feels like a B movie. And it gets so close to like embracing that energy and just like, you know what? Like forget being serious, let's just be stupid and fun. But like it comes close, but it expects you to take all of it seriously. And
Oh,
and not in like the funny played straight even though it's goofy kind of way.
good point. I always found it weird in that movie. It feels like two separate movies in one.
It does. Like it towards the end it just turns into Resident Evil with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Oh,
that's more fun. I'm making it sound more fun than it is.
oh,
I was about to
I
say I should watch that then.
I never. I kind of don't understand the rich military complex villains in that movie on what's the why is it more efficient to have a gun where you can point at someone and just like shoots a not
The
shoots
Endoraptor.
it just sends the raptor towards them. Why not just use the sniper that you're holding
Yeah. Also,
like right now?
one
Right.
one thing that always drives me crazy with this movie is like they make a big point of how like, oh, there's only one of each species of dinosaur in this facility, but they're like, oh no, should we? What happens if we let them go? Then it'll be unleashed upon the living world, and dinosaurs will walk the earth again. But there's only one of each species.
Just hunt
But
them
wait,
down.
in the first
Like
movie,
Noah's Ark.
didn't they like asexually reproduce?
No, it was
Yeah.
like I think it was no because
Yeah.
they had like frog DNA in there. It
They're
was
able to
like
change
some of the
their sexes.
yeah. So they can like I guess they can change their sexes back and
Life
forth,
finds
but they
a
can't
way.
reproduce.
No, they
Okay,
managed to reproduce. Like that was a big deal in the first one.
Yeah.
Life
because,
finds a way is
like,
just like is
yeah.
like they're gonna say life finds a way. It's gonna be like
life.
you know, the more you think about it, life finds a way is basically just like somehow Palpatine returns.
Nah, it makes more
Yeah.
sense in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
I always
at
saw
least then it makes sense.
I always saw Fallen Kingdom. I saw it in theaters. I saw it once, and I don't remember a ton of it. But for some reason, I remember I had fun with it. Like I liked it. But then I got home. It's like, oh, everyone hates this movie. It's like, did I?
Like
I think I was just in a particularly good mood, and I just had fun. Or maybe I'm just biased because it's dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, and my
Dinosaurs
critical
though.
I
my
just wanted to go.
brain tends to
Yeah.
like, oh, it's this kind of dinosaur. I know what this dinosaur is.
Yeah, I just wanted it to like embrace. I just wanted it to go full speed stupid, and it was too scared to.
I kind of wanted it to kind of veer more into horror from what I remember because the opening scene was cool with like the
Oh yeah, that
like
was cool.
it's like raining and it's like lightning and thunder and like you can see the T-Rex kind of appearing. And I was like, I kind of wish this was more like a horror movie, but like the Lost
There was
World.
that short that they did with like the family that was camping.
Oh yeah, that one was. Oh yeah, I saw that. That's weird. I forgot. That one was okay, I think.
Yeah.
Man, did I forgot I saw that. But it basically felt like I was doing the Lost World Jurassic Park again, except not as good because
Yeah.
Spielberg's, even if you want to call it Spielberg on autopilot, like I know Jim said that movie feels like Spielberg on autopilot, but even he's like he's still like a very competent director even on autopilot, but
Yeah.
whatever. Lost World has a lot of cool scenes. I hate people say it's the worst Jurassic Park. It's like, no, it's not. Fuck you.
Nah,
Uh,
I like the
sorry, continue.
Bronchiosaurus death scene in Lost World.
Yeah.
I like the implication that a little girl was mauled to death by like little chicken-sized raptors.
I mean, kids get killed by little
Yeah.
animals, you know.
That's true.
Also, I think they're like venomous, also,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
which is why later on in the movie, that guy who gets chased, he like starts to kind of like kind of get a little like sluggish while he's running around, like because it's like kind of slowly, kind of.
Oh yeah, Newman from Seinfeld.
Well, that's the first movie.
That's the first one.
Get your Jurassic Park right, but yeah.
It's all just dinosaurs, okay?
No.
It's all just Disney's dinosaurs.
No.
There is one movie that my friends are telling me about that I really want to see called Velocipaster.
I still haven't seen
yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
it. I
I've
see
heard
it.
it's a very fun time.
I see it in my recommended. I still haven't. I still haven't watched it.
Velocipaster. Basically, there's this pasture, this freaking man of the church, and he like can transform into a shitty Velociraptor costume from Party City, and he kills ninjas.
Sweet, dude.
It's great.
Oh my god.
Ninjas are eviscerated. I'm pretty sure even like in Velociraptor mode, he picks up an AK at some point. I could be remembering it completely wrong. I could be mixing it with another thing, but I'm pretty sure that happens.
We'll just have to watch it.
Now that sounds fun.
The
I remember I discovered the movie from watching just a random video that was recommended to me of actual like freaking members of the church reacting to a trailer of it.
Sweet.
All right. Is that Alex? Sue, anything else you want to add in worst B movies?
I guess the worst B movies I've seen could also be like some of the Oh yeah, Sharknado 4. Oh hell no.
Oh god.
Oh, no. The Sharknado 3 was called Oh hell no.
Oh.
And it ended with like,
Is that
and
the
it's reached the
one?
point where like it's not ironic anymore. It's like, oh, we're just going to not try because then that makes it more funny. It wasn't.
Is that the one where they're in Universal Studios?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty bad.
And they have the thing where it's just like, here is a famous NASCAR driver. Point to the screen and say, "Oh hell no!" And then we'll have a CG double of you get eaten. But
which NASCAR driver was it? Jeff
I think
Gordon?
I think it was Brad Keselowski.
Oh yeah, Jeff Gordon's too good to be in Sharknado.
Yeah, but
He was in Looney Tunes back in action though. But
yeah, I'm a commandeer in this here clown car. But the movie ends, and this really pissed me off. Like the movie ends with like Tara Reid's character like being eaten, and then and like immediately after she gets eaten, that's the end of the movie. And then an ad came on, was like, should she survive? Vote to find out what will happen in the next movie.
It reminds me of the most laziest version of this one thing this old B-movie director used to do, where like he'd have a skeleton, a glow-in-the-dark skeleton, like shoot from the rafters of the film theater, or vibrators in the seat to vibrate your back.
Sweet, dude.
I'm not kidding. This director used to do that stuff, and he was like a serious competitor against fucking what's his name?
Hitchcock.
Yes, Hitchcock.
I mean, I respect the ambition. He was kind of ahead of his time.
Yeah, it's like alternate. It's like it reminds me of like those what you call it, like not alternate reality. What was it?
Alternate endings.
No. It's you know those 4D experiences.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And I remember the film where the vibrators were in the thing. It was called The Tinglers, and it was about
God.
these. There was these like it turns out that the tingling feeling you feel when you're scared is actually this like transparent entity that's actually like fucking a brain with like little antenna that attaches itself to your spine, and if you don't scream, it cracks your spine or something. So,
oh shit! That actually sounds awesome.
At the end of the film, what happens is like a scientist looks into the camera and says, "They're out there, you know. They're out there.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
Scream, scream, scream." And then like the film has audio in it of people screaming in the audience, made to sound like people screaming in the audience, and their chairs were gimmicked so it would vibrate your back, some of the chairs, encouraging you to scream.
That's really cool.
I know. A lot of the old 50s B movies made by this specific director had those weird extra gimmicks to
Oh yeah,
keep
there was
people
one
coming.
called like there was one called
Shrieking
like
Skull, I think.
it was
There was
a there was another one called 13 Ghosts I remember hearing about where in the movie they would have glass. It was like a haunted house, but in the movie they'd have glasses they could put on to see ghosts, and they gave you like special 3D glasses where if you put them on you could see the ghosts, but if you had them off you couldn't.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's
I remember
impressive.
It's so cool.
there's another one called like the Shrieking Skull, and what would happen with it is basically they would the guy basically there was a skeleton in the movie and it was a very cheap effect, but the guy had it rigged. I mentioned it before in the rafters where he had this glow in the dark skeleton, and he would when certain scenes in the movie played, they would shoot the skeleton across the rafters and scare a bunch of people. But soon
That's
the
sick.
kids discovered what was happening, and they brought slingshots to the movie theater and
Oh,
started
no.
shooting at the freaking skeleton and stuff. And it turns out that there's this history of like horror-based entertainment where it's like there's definite interaction with the audience. Like there's these things, I think they're called horror shows, where back in like the 30s and 40s or something like that, you would have this horror show play, and you would have people like fake cut off limbs and run through the audience spurting blood, like releasing a mad scientist experimenting on the gorilla. The gorilla escapes, rips the mad scientist's arms off in brutal fashion. The mad scientist is then chased by the gorilla all throughout the theater, through the audience, up to the rafters, and then the mad scientist falls to his death. Not really, but it's made to look like it.
Right.
And stuff. And it's just a fascinating bit of like horror film history and B-movie history.
I would love to see like an independent theater just have a night like that where they show those movies and have like actors come in and stuff.
Oh yeah, I think they still do stuff like that to this day with some movies. I remember hearing like a year or so back where they did that with like a movie where they had somebody walk through the audience and scare them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add, Alex, too?
Not that I can think of, but I think that's a good jumping off point to head into Hollow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
It was Hollow's turn. I was like, oh.
I have two movies I want to mention. One I remember watching in while having a fever, and I was fucking not out of it. And the other I remember watching while not in a fever, and I can barely remember it because of how freaking boring it was.
Right.
Right.
What are they?
The first one I want to mention is Gappa, the Triphibian Monster.
Whoa.
It's from the 1960s, I believe, and basically this company wanted to make a spoof or parody of the whole kaiju genre in Japan. But midway through development, they changed it into a serious kaiju film.
Oh no.
Now, Gappa themselves, the creature, is actually pretty cool. It's one of those designs that is fucking both stupid but amazing at the same time. Kind of like, kind of like Gigan from Godzilla,
Right.
A giant space chicken kind of design. But that's about the only good thing I can say about the movie. That and the effects are good, but it's just all crap. And because you have that midway change, fucking serious, it being a serious movie, but first starting out as a comedy, it just feels super disjointed and unconnected, and just overall is crap and boring and just
Right.
It's terrible. And the other movie I wanted to mention is Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and this is the one I watched in my feverish state, and I just remember being endlessly bored by it. Endlessly bored by it. It's like, imagine if a soap opera was a monster movie.
Oh,
Because I think I remember the main character. She's like angry at her husband or something for cheating on her, and she threatens a divorce. The husband tries to take her out. She gets mutated somehow. I think it's like, it's either radioactivity or like electrical waves that do it, or like something alien. I forget.
it's
But
probably radiation.
she gets
Yeah.
mutated into this giant woman, and throughout the rest of the movie, she's just kind of walking around and apathetically doing stuff, like picking up her husband, who, when in her hand, clearly is like a fucking doll,
Giant.
and just like flings him around and stuff. And it's just an incredibly boring B movie. And I was actually excited to see it at the time, because it's like one of the de facto super well-known B movies, and the poster is iconic and all that, but the film itself is just so fucking boring.
The B
And
is for boring.
The worst thing a B movie can be is freaking melodramatic
Yeah.
and feel like
I-
a soap. Yeah.
You can do melodrama, but like you have to like have that pretense like, no, this isn't meant to be taken seriously.
Definitely. And this movie just feels like it's one of those situations where, with a few adjustments, it could be brilliant and really fun. But as is, it's just kind of boring and just uninteresting,
Right.
with a
Right.
bunch of freaking just nothing to it. And I think I remember seeing the green screen on the 50-foot woman is so bad that she's like transparent sometimes. Like her, when she's like reaching into the house or something, you can see kind of through her hand.
Right, just like the mat was just really poorly done.
Oh, very poorly.
It's quality. That was on purpose. Okay. You don't understand the genius of
The
this
twist is that
director.
she was a ghost all along.
She was a giant ghost. She was
Yeah,
the marshmallow ghost from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the soul is actually larger than the human body. It's not very dense. It's mostly made of air, but when the soul leaves the human body, it gets bigger.
And apparently can pick people up.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to focus hard enough, like Patrick Swayze, to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it sucked.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never seen
Okay,
it. So
you know what? Dracula was a really boring one for me. I understand the appeal, and I understand why it's considered like a iconic.
What's Dracula?
Which
The first Dracula, the universal Dracula.
The Abe,
Okay.
not Abe Pagoda. What's his
Abe
name?
Pagoda.
No, not him. It's I always confuse them.
Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi. I don't
Be-
want to confuse them. Yeah, Bela Lugosi one.
Yeah, like
I really like that one.
I heard-
actually,
I
but-
appreciate I appreciate the atmosphere of it, and I think it's really good for what it did, and I understand like why it's considered a classic movie, but
Have you
it
seen-
moved so slow for me, and
Have you seen the Spanish version?
I have not actually.
Believe it or not,
some consider it better.
Believe it or
Really?
not, basically, back in the day when you made a film, it was easier to make two of the same picture just with different casts that spoke different languages. So when they made Dracula, they made one version with an American cast who spoke English, or like an English-speaking cast, and they made another version with a Spanish-speaking cast.
Yeah,
Oh.
and the
The
Spanish
thing-
film was filmed at night, while the English film was filmed during the day on the same
And-
set.
Oh.
And the thing about the Spanish one is I haven't seen the Spanish one myself, but people have said that it's a lot faster, it's a lot more snappy, the acting is a lot more exaggerated in a way. So it's, in a lot of people's opinion, a lot better, a lot more
Yeah.
engaging than the original is to a lot of people today.
I think
I
the thing
have-
is because they were also allowed to view, because the English crew filmed first, like during the day. The Spanish crew were able to look at the dailies, and they intend, which is why sometimes they change certain things. Like there's like certain POV shots that don't exist in the English version, and little
Ooh.
things because you get to look at them and like, oh, I could do something. Let me do something better or something. But
That
it's not.
makes sense.
It's,
Is like because this was like it was filmed during a time when like movies you didn't really have time to second guess. It was basically just a production line, and you would just have to like go go go. But like by seeing another crew go first, they got to like take a little extra time to see what worked and what didn't.
I still need to watch it, but I've seen clips of it.
The first
but
Dracula is kind of infamous for its weird, wonky continuity. I mean, there's that whole thing with
the cardboard thing.
Oh yeah, the cardboard thing. The whole thing with the cardboard and the weird.
James Rolfe made an entire video about it, which I found really funny that he made a video discussing a piece of cardboard into Dracula.
I watched that thing. I watched that video twice.
James Rolfe has constantly made good content from day one.
Oh yeah.
He could talk about anything, and I'd be in.
Freaking! I remember watching his freaking Monster Madnesses back in the day, and happily waiting on Cinemassacre.com during freaking October, waiting for the next episode to come out, and what he's going to talk about next. You know, that was freaking. His stuff is awesome.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, Hollow?
Gappa sucks. I hope they bring back the monster at some point and give it a better movie.
And in the next Godzilla movie.
In a post-Lego movie world, in a post-Lego movie world, executives will entertain a wide number of concepts for a movie.
I want Bionicle back. God bless it. Give me the Bionicle omnibus with all the comics.
Yeah.
That's printed good and not like the size of a manga and falls apart with even a freaking whisper.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn, and like I only have two. Like, and Alex already brought up the Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah, because you've seen that one.
I already seen it, and I agree with him. With this whole, it is just boring. It's kind of a slog to sit through. But it does have interesting ideas. I'll give it that. Like, it has like this whole humanity was gonna destroy themselves anyway, whatever message at the end. And like, even though it's dumb, I like the fact that the main character destroys the ship by just like randomly by just setting it on fire. Like, super intelligent beings from outer space can't introduce like a security measure against fire. But other than that, the movie's boring as fuck. And the other one I was gonna bring up is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the second one. I haven't watched the first one. I only seen the second one, and it's just kind of meh. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I did enjoy the notion of the whole town being super against tomatoes, and they just adapted to never use them. There's like this one gag in it where they visit a pizza shop, and they just don't use sauce because they don't use tomato sauce.
You know what? I have heard that like the later Attack of the Killer Tomatoes movies like really leaned into the spoof and comedy aspect of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch them, but I've only seen the second one. It was pretty bad. But I did like that side gag of the no sauce pizza. And you just see them like fumbling around, or the main character just questioning like, But why? Why isn't there no sauce?
The stereotypical like everyone in the restaurant turns around is like, what did you just say?
It's the sauce.
The sauce, or I think they made one with peanut butter on it instead of just
Yeah.
sauce.
Oh,
And I thought to
that's like
myself,
Ninja Turtle stuff.
because I saw this when I was really young, so I thought to myself, that's
Oh, you
interesting.
just reminded me. Oh, you just reminded me of this. There's this chick, and she's like a huge Ninja Turtle fan, and she eats pizza, and and in the video you get to see her make the pizza, and oh
Oh
god,
no.
it's like
Oh, God.
mayonnaise and cheese pizzas turned into a sandwich. It's gross.
A pizza sandwich.
Now, if you excuse me, to make my bagel bite and DiGiorno pizza sandwich.
Mamma
Ooh.
mia. It's a delicacy, okay?
I honestly do want to try that though at some point.
Oh yeah, like bagels. You know what? Let's here's something that's I don't know if anyone's ever done this. Like take a pretzel bagel and turn it into a pizza bagel. You got a pizza pretzel bagel.
My
Hmm.
brain just broke. You just broke my brain.
It's the ultimate New York delicacy.
Yeah.
It's delicious. But yeah, other than that, I don't like. I I kind of like bad movies. Like it really has to go
Oh,
super bad for me to just dislike it in the first place, or has to
I,
be like super boring.
I just remembered a bad B movie that I haven't seen personally, but I've heard the legends of how crap it is.
Oh,
Oh, which one?
It is The Blob 2. Not the Blob remake from the 80s, but I think this was like I think this was before the remake, but after the original, they made a sequel to the original Blob, and it was just complete and utter ass.
I
I mean,
I
is
didn't
this
know it
thing?
had a sequel. What the hell?
I didn't. It like this thing
that's
apparently
just how
had
it be.
below zero. It had negative number budget, you know.
That's that's
And like they played clips from the original movie throughout the new like the sequel film. I think it was called something like Revenge of the Blob.
gross.
Oh, it was terrible. I distinctly only remember seeing one scene from it where this fat fuck is like eating food and he has his belly exposed. He's wearing a wife beater on a gross like green chair and he's watching the original Blob movie. And that's the only scene I can remember. And the original, it's weird. There's like a lot of 50s B movies where the originals are, in my opinion, better than the 80s remakes. I prefer the original Blob over the remake, and I prefer like the original The Fly over the remake.
Oh,
You prefer The Fly? Do you not like the Jeff Goldblum? I forget the name of the director, but the '80s Fly.
Right, I've heard.
I enjoy the 80s Fly, but I still prefer
it's
the 50s
different.
one.
It's very different.
I've really loved the '80s one. I think Jeff Goldblum does really fantastic in the role, and the creature makeup is really disgusting, but that's kind of the point. Like it's really fucking good.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's like they're both like very different interpretations.
Oh yeah, one's very, very B movie-ish, and the '80s one's kind of like a tragedy. It's like a tragedy. The '80s one.
Both of them are freaking
bad.
Both of them are basically have very
Gross.
similar plots. The B movie one deals with the transformation in a very different way. Instead of like the Jeff Goldblum slow body horror, it's kind of like Phantom of the Opera in a way, where the guy has everything about himself hidden the entire time and is just trying in vain, desperately to fix himself until his wife finally figures out and unmasks him as the fly man he is, and he kind of just finally disconnects from himself and becomes the monster.
Oh, that actually sounds kind of cool. It's like he has nothing left of his humanity after his wife has like seen him like this,
and just is horrified at him. And there's that moment where he realizes there's just no hope, and he fucking goes and he loses it, and he goes after the wife. And at least this is how I remember it being. I could be grandizing it in my memory, but I think it was like that kind of story. While
Right.
while Jeff Goldblum's is it was the same descent, but done very differently, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's like, yeah, like the original one had a lot more of a psychological element to it, while the 80s one had a lot more of a physicality to it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Like,
yeah,
even-
I get it.
I really love how I really love when like they do a reboot and they don't just like remake it shot for shot and theme for theme. I love when when like new talent come along and experiment and like, oh, let's just have it in a different tone or a different style.
But they still homage and pay tribute and
Yeah.
respect the original. The perfect
I love
example
that
of that,
stuff.
the perfect example of that, 80s The Thing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
80s Thing movie. It totally
That's such a cool
homages and
movie.
pays tribute and respects the original goofy 50s The Thing movie, where the Thing was a giant plant man monster.
Right.
But it does its own thing and is willing to take risks, you know? And
Yeah.
get really weird with it. That's
And-
probably the best reboot or remake that I've seen so
Like, it's
far,
more-
you know?
Yeah, it's one of the ones that's probably more famous than the original.
Oh, totally.
The original
who-
I've never seen. I just know the part where they burned the guy alive, and it's like the first. It's the first, at least American movie where to depict someone burning completely on fire on screen, which is a very interesting achievement. But it's a cool looking scene because it's like a dude who walks in, and they're just throwing like Molotovs and like lighting him on fire.
And he's just like
And he's-
slowly stumbling
It's cool.
through,
Yeah, I was like,
and he finally flops into the snow.
Dude,
Yeah.
imagine how much like that blew people's minds back in the day.
Oh
it's
god.
cool.
I mean, this was only like a decade or so, like 20 years after Kong, you know?
People were probably terrified.
Totally. I mean, freaking, you saw a man just burst into flames.
Realistic,
You
he
know,
was probably wearing a suit made of asbestos.
Oh, that's worse.
that's just a price to pay working with Hollywood. You know, you just sometimes they set you on fire.
That was like that was how they set the Scarecrow's fire on arm in The Wizard of Oz. He was wearing like a sleeve made of asbestos.
Yeah.
Also, the snow in the Field of Flowers was asbestos.
Oh, did you hear recently they found like Dorothy's outfit or something from The Wizard of Oz?
Really?
Like a university basement, they found the original outfit that's been lost for years.
Oh, damn.
That's weird. I didn't even know it was lost.
I didn't either. I knew like one of the pairs of shoes were lost because some hoodlums stole them and threw them into the river. I'm not kidding. One of the pairs of the red ruby slippers was stolen by a bunch of freaking kids and thrown into the river.
Fuck these
There's a-
shoes.
There's a really dripped out fish right now.
That fish just wanna go home. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That's the thing. The fish is like spent years. He's lost his home. He spent years trying to find the slipper so he can go home. And then the tragic part, he gets there and he realizes he doesn't have feet.
What is
He's
this?
like, no,
What is it?
No.
Twilight episode?
yeah, yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
There was time now.
Bro, just find new glasses.
Yeah, you're in the like. There's bound to be a pair of glasses around that have your
I just-
prescription.
I remember the fucking Futurama episode where it's like one thing after another, where it's like the
It's like
glasses
15
break hurt. Oh, my eyes are good. The eyes pop out. I can read Braille. The hands fall off. He starts screaming. His tongue falls out. Just
It's
the
pretty
slow,
good.
the slow disintegration of man.
There was one I saw that was pretty good. It was just like he's on a where like it starts off with him in the casino and he starts like he's like a casino where I always win. That's boring. I must be in hell. And then a flight attendant comes like, you're not in hell. You're on an airplane. And there's a gremlin on the airplane. It's just like there's there's a gremlin out there. You gotta believe me. Why should I believe you? You're Hitler.
I fucking the escalation in those gags is absolutely brilliant.
I also just like the parody names. They just call it the Scary Door.
Oh, the scary door. If
The
they
Scary
made
Door.
if they made a Futurama spin-off out of the scary door, it wouldn't last long. I think it would have to be a mini series, but
It
I would
already
watch
exists. It's called The Shivering Truth.
it. Never watch that.
It's basically it's the Twilight Zone if it was made by the creator of Xavier Renegade Angel.
You have my interest.
Yeah, it's that. That's basically what it is. It's absolute nonsense. There's like one story where it's like about people realize that prayer works, so that people start like mugging people to prayer jack them. It's like they hold up a gun. It's like, pray me a hoagie and fly me to my job.
Fucking yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So,
Yeah.
Pale, the worst B movies you've seen.
I haven't seen a lot, and it takes a lot for me to dislike one. I don't really hate it. I just think it's a little boring, but I do like the effects. I'm gonna go with Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh,
Hey.
I really
Damn.
like that movie actually.
Please
Freaking
don't
love
hurt.
that movie.
Damn, I can't believe I gotta kick you out of the podcast now.
No,
Shit.
I'm sorry. I
sure.
rewatched it and I was like, all right, I guess.
I
It seems
only
like one of the
ever-
first like movies that's designed from like inception to be a B movie.
It's really fun and the
I
soundtrack's
like
cool.
this,
And
just I didn't like it. And I haven't seen a lot of. I'll go on topic later because I've seen a lot of remakes of B movies, but not like the original, and I feel bad, and I'm like, fake.
I know there was I remember there was like a game called Harvester that was like very B movie inspired.
I think I remember Harvester. It sounds familiar.
It's like it's like a full motion video. Like all the graphics are like digitized
Oh
actors.
yeah. Harvester, the one that got banned from like Germany for being too violent and gory.
Yep, that's how you know it's good.
Oh, if it's banned from Germany or Australia, you know it's good.
You know it's good.
Good shit.
You know it's truly based gamer gunk.
Yeah, it's like it's a point and click adventure, and like there was like a streamer playing it, and jokingly like one of his chat members is like, oh yeah, he was like the character's talking to his mom, and one of the people in chat's like, oh, type in fuck in the command line and see what happens, and then he does, and the mom is like, what a thing to say to your mother. Is that an invitation now that your father is out of action?
Oh, I think that was Germa, or I remember
It was Joel.
Joel. That makes sense. I know I think Germa played it, and I know Joel played it.
Yeah, it's like it's all the kills and stuff are really gory, and there's like a weird twist at the end.
Oh yeah, it's like a perfect balance between the grindhouse of the '70s and the classic B movie mentalities. You know.
Oh yeah, because there's like one character who's just like, do you not like meat? Anyone who doesn't like meat is a commie.
Oh yeah. I mean that is true.
Yeah.
All vegans are commies, obviously.
Oh,
And all carnivores.
We don't say commie anymore. We say Antifa.
But
No, never mind. I was gonna say something on that.
anyway,
Honestly, we need to bring back commie.
No.
nah.
no thank you. No,
Anyway,
really
we'll go to the next topic.
Yes.
The likes and dislikes. We'll go like bottom up. So, Pale, you go first.
Alright, it's just very broad. It's just, I like how creative they can get with the special effects and makeup. I guess saving money. I guess the dislikes is, sometimes it can look kind of like cheesy over the top. Meh. The makeup.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
No, that's it.
All right. I guess in my I agree with you, Phil, on the like the creativeness of it. It's very interesting how to see what they do when they had to save money. Yeah. Like, how do we make
Like
this
I
effect?
know I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, like, I think one technique they use is, like, I think they use melted gum or something for, like the skin. I don't remember, but they do some weird and interesting, and it's pretty.
And then another thing I like on these B movies is just the uh, more creative freedom
Yeah,
like they have than like
They can
more
get
big
weird
budget.
with it.
They can get weird with it. Yeah, exactly.
Right, because they have like the knowledge of knowing like this isn't like the big budget ones that the studio is pushing. This is like a filler movie, so
And
there's
if
not as
we
much.
want to, and we want to get people seeing this, we got to make sure it's weird, ludicrous. You have something that people can see and talk about after the drive-in theater, you know?
Yeah, and like the studios aren't going to be as attentive with us because we're not the big money maker. So let's just get goofy.
Freaking making Robot Monster. Freaking
Yeah.
you sound like a human, not a Roman.
It's good. I like it.
And then for
The
this,
giant claw. It's as big as a battleship, dude.
but yeah, and for dislikes, I don't have like any particular dislikes for B movies. Like even if it's like bad effects or anything, just I don't
yeah.
expect them to have high quality effects anyway.
That's
Like
Uh,
it's nice when they have it, but like I don't expect the this magical impressive film from the get go. But that's all I have to say. I'll just move on to Hollow. Like like
honestly, I have much of the same likes. I love the creativity, love how they can get weird with it and just go all out with whatever the fuck they want, you know? For the most part. I mean, back in the day, you had freaking various censorship boards and stuff. But even then, you had people in the underground doing weird shit. But yeah, B movies, I love how weird they can get. I love how creative they can be, not just with, I think this has been mentioned also, not just with what is in the movie, but how stuff is done. Because when you're working on a no budget, you start to think of weird ways to achieve certain effects that sometimes look better than what would be done if it was like a full budget movie.
Yeah.
And for dislikes, I can't really think of anything. Well, sometimes they can be, of course, boring, you know, because
eh,
a lot of B movies are from the 50s. Well, yeah, a lot of classic B movies can be slow and boring, but a lot of the majority of them aren't. So, yeah, that's about it.
all right. What about you, Alex? Too.
Um, for me, one thing that I do like about B movies, and it's something that like James Rolfe has talked about before, where if the effects are like bad, they kind of become more tangible, and you can have like a better appreciation for how they did it. Like when I was watching like the original Godzilla movie, there were some points in time where you can like tell that where you could tell like a set was a model, but because of that, because you like kind of have an understanding of how they did it, because like you see like a big CGI monster and like, oh, that looks cool, but most people don't really have any knowledge about like 3D animation or shading or stuff like that. They're just like, oh, it's a computer monster or a CGI thing. But like when you see a model, when you see like this sort of tangible thing that most people would like say, oh yeah, they had to like, it's kind of more impressive or more easy to understand like, oh, how they did it. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but
Oh, no. It's like when you're able to figure out how it's done, you can appreciate it more, you can understand it more. And sometimes when you have something that's actually there, it makes it feel somehow more realistic. It gives it a level of grit that it wouldn't
Right.
have. Like the problem with a lot of modern B movies is that they feel too clean. They feel too slick with all the CGI monsters. When you have a
Yeah.
monster that's actually there, it feels a lot more realistic, even though it's clearly fake. It
Right.
feels a lot more gritty and down to earth, and like
Yeah.
this, it makes you want to go out and make one yourself because
Oh, yeah.
clearly you can.
And it's also really impressive because like there's so many like types of effects that we can just do now with like the click of a button, but if you wanted to do anything like it back then, you would have to like do camera tricks, you'd have to invent just a new technology for one type of shot and like jump through all of these hoops just to get like a shot that will still look like rough around the edges, but there's like you can really appreciate like, oh wow, they did this in the 50s. Good lord.
Not just the 50s, but then you got the freaking insane stuff they were doing in the 20s.
Oh yeah. Like it was very experimental.
Totally. And then you got stuff like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, all of those bones were real.
Oh,
Wait, were they real?
Oh yeah, totally. If I remember correctly, that's like one of the big facts about that movie. All the bones used in it were very real.
Hot. I'm sorry.
No, pale, wrong.
Yeah,
that's
I
kind of
think-
hot.
it's
That's
pretty cool, man.
Oh no, he's hot.
I can appreciate stuff like that. Or
Yeah, they still got the. I don't know if they still have the real skull in Pirates of the Caribbean or not.
When I die, I want to be turned into an animatronic at a theme park.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be sick. Then I can
Just-
haunt, dude. I can haunt Disney World, and I can use my ghost to possess the statue of Walt Disney.
Fucking possess it and freaking just. I don't know.
I can control Disney in death, and I can possess like all the different animatronics. I can walk around as like different presidents.
You can reenact the Bite of '87 with Walt Disney's giant statue.
With
With his
empty
frozen head.
with empty suits of the Disney characters just lying around.
Yes.
Yeah. Make
I would,
shit. Fuck with the people coming in early by putting weird signs and archaic messages in the walls.
Where's my Five Nights at Disney?
Five Nights at Treasure Island.
Is that not a thing? Five Nights at Disney? Because I know they made a mod where it's like Five Nights at the Krusty Krab. Five Nights at Disney seems like it writes itself. Just
Oh
just
no
get,
no no
like
no! It was
animatronics
already
and
done.
Mickey Mouse and okay, good. I was like,
It's called Five Nights at Treasure Island, and it's based off of that one creepypasta with photo negative Mickey taking his head off.
Oh, you mean Abandoned by Disney?
Yeah, it's called Five Nights at Treasure Island, and it's based off of that.
you're
Right.
gonna have to send me a link to that.
swag.
Which way?
Ooh.
All right. Who was next? I lost track. It was Alex Sue, right? Likes and dislikes.
Yeah. Dislikes. One thing I have to say that I dislike is when a B movie tries to like too heavily lean. Like I don't really like it when a movie uses like oh, we're just a B movie as an excuse to not try.
To be lazy.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, to be lazy and stuff. Because I think like being intentionally lazy can work when you've got like the comedic timing right. But then you have stuff like a good example that I've seen is The Amazing Bulk, where the humor comes from how poorly made it is, and there are parts of The Amazing Bulk that are definitely funny, but at some point it feels kind of like they're just really heavily leaning on like, oh, we have all these terrible special effects, and that's the joke.
No, the whole movie is just free assets found online. Okay. Free
Yeah.
green screen assets they found and just pasted together through the entire thing.
Yeah, it's just like it's just leaning on that and hoping that that will be enough to carry it, and not really putting effort into much else.
Yeah.
Which is not, that kind of sucks the fun out of it for me, because
I,
there's like just comes a point where like you go numb.
I I think it's pretty funny on that movie is every time they walk, like because they just have to walk in place, and it's obvious that they don't know how to do that.
It's
Stuff like
not
that is
like
pretty funny.
they're not professionals at walking in place like Linkara.
Like Linkara, insert gif of insert Linkara gif here.
Yeah, but yeah, that actually reminds me of this one B movie. I think it's called like Bad CGI Sharks or Killer CGI Sharks, and it's actually one of those B movies that's cleverly done and uses its shitty CGI sharks in an interesting way. Like by the end of the film, like the CGI sharks gain sentience and try to rewrite the script that they're currently reenacting so they win or something like that. It's weird and fun. Brilliantly fun.
That sounds cool.
Hold on. I remember I watched a review from a guy about it. It's like, killer CGI. But yeah, it was. I remember it was made by like a brother team, and the brothers actually star in the movie.
Yep.
Nice. All right. How about you, Alex and Menace? Likes and dislikes.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Just always for dislikes. I think sometimes the only thing is that they can, if you try to like watch a couple of them, they do get a little tiring sometimes when they're like, because I think it's the whole thing with the B movies that they tend to not, they intentionally kind of are a little, they're not art house ish. Like they're just kind of like kind of well aware this is like dumb fun, and sometimes like I'm like I need to like take a break, because sometimes it's like it's a little much sometimes to just kind of sit through like a lot of movies like that. For me personally, oh, Decker Shadow, I haven't seen his videos in ages. Sorry, I just like scrolled down to saw something. But I don't know. That's like not like a big dislike. I think my big like of them, that no one has really mentioned, is that it can start careers in terms of like sometimes like a lot of talented people, very talented people later on can get their start from making B movies, like Francis Ford Coppola, you know, Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Conversation, and et cetera, you know, all time great. He started off making like B movies, like that's kind of his foray into.
I mean, Jaws.
Same thing with Peter Jackson as well.
Peter Jackson,
Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg got his.
Sam Raimi.
Steven Spielberg got his start with like a TV movie.
Well, I wouldn't call Jaws a B movie. That's
I would call Jaws a B movie. It was
I really would.
Literally, it was released in a time that was proven unprofitable at that point in time. The summer months were a period of time that was meant for movies that were meant to flop, and were meant to not really make that much money.
I know, but I wouldn't say it's like a B if it fits the qualifications of a B movie, though.
Steven Spielberg's first movie was Duel.
Well, yeah, it's his first. Well, Sugarland Express, Duel, Duel, and Sugarland Express. It depends if you count a B movie, a TV movie as his first movie, but yeah, Duel and Sugarland Express.
The man basically just snuck onto the Universal backlot one day, set himself up in a closet, and said that was his office, and just like finagled his way into becoming a director.
Yeah, you really can't do that anymore, but
you can't.
That's a dream.
I wish I could do that with the comic industry, man. I could just fucking randomly at Marvel, you just notice one day that a random hobo has made himself at home and is writing comics in your closet at like the Marvel offices.
They'll think you're just eccentric, yeah.
No, honestly, at this point they probably would, or they would think I'm just a normal writer for Marvel. But yeah.
Oh, But no, but yeah, a lot of people kind of get their starts from people we've already mentioned, and there's way more people that I'm like not remembering, but just
What's
Francis
his
Ford
name?
Coppola is kind of a
I think the guy who created did Terminator and
James
stuff.
Cameron.
James
I'm
Cameron.
pretty
Well,
sure.
Piranha 2 is that's like a weird one because he is credited as the director, but like most people kind of don't view it as his first movie because he was kind of
I
brought into that, and I don't know.
I
It's like a
remember
weird
what's his name? What's his name? Not Bob I. Gordon. No. The guy he's famous for B movies. Not Ed Wood. He produced the Carnosaur movies, and he made that one Fantastic Four movie before all the other Fantastic Four movies.
Oh,
he made
I-
the first one.
I know who you're talking about because I know those movies. I don't know the name of the director, but
I'm trying to remember the name of the guy, but he made like a cash-in movie, and like one of those big directors worked on the cash-in movie. A lot of big directors worked for him starting out. I know that. So and then of course Trauma films. Oh goodness, Trauma.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman. I mean, James Gunn came from Trauma.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of freaking. I love the original Toxic Avenger to this day. All the
Oh yeah,
sequels.
yeah.
The first two sequels suck monkey fuck, and then
Yes.
the most recent sequel, Citizen Toxie, good but not great.
I love that one clip of like Lloyd Kaufman giving like an interview, and he's talking about Poultrygeist. He's like, I believe we've successfully filmed the greatest scene of explosive diarrhea. He's just so proud. I love it.
I can see him saying that. Oh, it's brilliant. I remember this one show called Oddities, which is about weird fucking old school antiques, and he was on it looking for a human hand.
Because of course he was.
Yeah, he was looking for something for the next Toxie film, and he wanted a real, like, mummified human hand for it.
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't done with my point at all, but
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, it's like one of the I don't know what you guys are talking about. But aside from that, also no one's mentioned this, but I would consider them to be B movies. I don't see anyone mentioning, like, even like I went on Google and to see, like, does anyone call these kind of movies B movies? But like black exploitation films. And I mentioned that in the sense that, like, for positives, it tends to give an outlet for kind of disenfranchised people to kind of make their own movies because
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because they're cheap,
Captain Alex.
because they're like cheap and quick to make films, and oftentimes you're not going to be given the budget of like a bigger movie, so the advantage is like a studio can kind of give you money. It's like, yeah, sure, make something, whatever. And a lot of those films are kind of disposable, but they do make it is a way to kind of give other people kind of like voices, rather, especially in the 70s specifically. I'm talking about, like, again, for blaxploitation, kind of giving like that audience kind of an outlet to make films and kind of star people that aren't just kind of boring white people. And the only one, granted, I've seen thus far, because I've kind of been lazy with watching movies in general lately, but it's like Dolomite, which is like a fun sort of like action type movie stuff. And Dolomite, my name, kind of explains kind of the movie with Eddie Murphy, kind of explains the process behind that and whatever. But stuff like that, and again, I haven't seen these movies, but I'm more familiar with the soundtracks to them, like the theme song to Shaft, or the soundtrack to Superfly by Curtis Mayfield is really, really good. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but the soundtrack, because I really like soul and funk and whatever music from the 70s, and I don't know, it's just kind of a cool outlet and stuff like that for to give other people voices and ways to kind of do that stuff. And again, kind of with back to Ed Wood, I wouldn't call it like a movie about kind of transgender issues, but there's a Glenn or Glenda, which that kind of dabbles in the line of like it's kind of a way to kind of like make a story about a topic like that like, and again, I'm not saying the movie's like really that kind of movie, but I couldn't really see a movie like that being made on a bigger budget with a bigger studio in mind. Like it just kind of, especially for 50s Hays Code stuff, it would not fly for most of them probably. And I don't know. I just for those reasons, I think they're cool. Just kind of lets people make their films without needing to spend like millions of dollars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah,
And you posted the Blackula
I would.
from Grim and Evil. Grim and Evil from Billy and Mandy. I'm going way older when the show was called Grim and Evil, but yeah, Billy and Mandy.
But
Yeah.
I would put like I would consider them B movies. I think they're just better known as blaxploitation films.
Blaxploitation is like a subsect of
Yeah.
B-movies.
What Hollow
Yeah.
said.
It's just when I looked into this topic, I was like, I was like, do they count? Because no one's really mentioning them. Like, I guess they count. I'm like, I'm gonna count them. They check off every box in terms of budget and
I feel like some kung fu
like,
movies would also fit into B-movie.
yeah, I saw Enter the Dragon was listed as a B movie. It's like, I don't know if I consider that a B movie. I haven't seen it in years, but I love that movie. But yeah, kung fu films. I haven't again seen any of them, so I didn't have any comments to make versus with blaxploitation, where at least I'm somewhat familiar with some of the stuff. But kung fu films, yeah.
Blaxploitation. The only one I've seen like in those is Black Dynamite.
Actually, Black Dynamite, yeah. I'm more familiar with the Adult Swim show, but I know it's based on a movie from the 70s.
I know there was a
Oh yeah, but there you
one
go.
movie that I've heard. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, but there you go with the Tuner said kung fu films, and I'm like, well, again, kind of a sort of a more niche outlet or group of people being allowed to kind of make these kind of movies that in bigger Hollywood stuff are not being made again, kind of shining in light and a voice and stuff like that. And those movies were also really popular within the Black community also. So again, it's more of that, kind of gives more of a voice of power and stuff to certain communities and whatever. It's cool. Continue.
Oh yeah, one movie that I heard a lot about, like that I learned about recently, mainly from Kill Count, was Bones, which is like
the horror
Bones.
movie.
The ABC
Yeah.
show. Wait, is it ABC?
It was
the one.
it-
Wait, is Bones the one with Snoop Dogg or something?
Yeah,
in
it was like it's like a horror movie with like elements of blaxploitation in it, and it's about like it's about like sort of a not a it's sort of like a or he wasn't a drug dealer. That was something he was against. He was like
Isn't he like a
basically
demon or something?
oh, he was like basically the head criminal of like a neighborhood and sort of looked over and protected it. And then like people double crossed him, so it's like a Phantom of the Opera kind of thing where he's now like a vengeful spirit.
Yeah,
They use like a lot of practical effects with it, and
yeah, I haven't seen the movie. Again, I'm only familiar with the poster and knowing that Snoop Dogg's in it and some of the songs on the soundtrack by virtue of him. But
I would recommend watching the Kill Count episode on it because there's a lot of like really fun tidbits. Like there was like a scene where he was like walking upstairs through like a house on fire, and that was the only shot of the movie where he was sober.
Another film subsect for whatchamacallit, B movies, I would say Turkish cinema.
Ooh.
The Turkish knockoff films. Like Three Devadam and freaking what was it called
The
again?
Avengers.
Oh, there's so many great Turkish knockoff films. But there's one Turkish film that I actually like. It's not a knockoff. It's called Lion Man. And it's about this dude who was raised by lions in the woods. And he eventually gets his like hands burnt off, but replaces them with like steel lion paws and kung fu's people to death.
That sounds awesome.
The ultimate furry.
Yes.
Oh, I have it on Blu-ray. I have that film on Blu-ray somewhere
Ooh.
in my collection. I just
Nice.
misplaced it. But the problem with the Blu-ray edition, granted, it's in English, which is freaking awesome. But in the original film, Lion Man's like roars and stuff were literally stock sounds from Bruce Lee. So you would
Nice.
randomly hear Bruce Lee's "Whatcha!" and Lion Man would appear. Just in the background, you would hear the Bruce Lee noise, and Lion Man was there with his paws, and he was freaking flashing people's eyes out.
It's art.
Art.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next topic. The best B movie you ever seen. Yeah. We'll go. What was the order we did last time?
We're gonna go back to Pale.
Back to Pale. All right.
Okay. In that case, I got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wait a minute.
What?
Oh, wait. Sorry, my bad. We can start with Pale. It's fine. I can wait. My turn.
Oh.
And then just go back down again. Sorry, I forgot we ended off with me.
Okay, whatever. We'll just go down up again. Continue on, Pale.
Yeah. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's neat.
Yes.
I like it. It's
Texas Chainsaw
they did
Massacre.
great with the budget they had.
Like,
Yeah, I recommend it.
I remember in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I got recommended it a long time ago, and I was told it was like the scariest movie, the most realistic movie, and whatever. And I was kind of just bored during the whole thing, and I really disliked. I really disliked all the characters except for the murder family. I forgot their names.
They're great.
But
you sound like my friend who thought all the main teenagers are really annoying.
All the main teenagers are fucking annoying and assholes, and I'm glad they died.
Yeah. Same. I would have mentioned two more. I'm gonna mention, even though I've never seen the originals, just because I've seen the remakes. Dawn of the Dead and The Hills of Eyes. I really like the remakes. I've never seen the originals, but I feel like I would really like original if I see them.
God, the intro to Dawn of the Dead. There was a lot of stuff about like the remake of Dawn of the Dead that really. There's stuff like about the remakes of Dawn of the Dead that still gives me chills. Like the opening is just terrifying.
From Dawn of the Dead, are you talking the original or the remake?
The remake. Like the opening, the opening sequence in like the first scene where like the main character just wakes up to a world that's just in complete chaos. It's terrifying.
Yeah. From what I remember, yeah.
There's also like they did one. It was like a news report, and it was like a special feature on like the DVD, and they basically formatted it like it was a news report, like commenting on the outbreak as it happens. And they have like, and I was surprised like how oddly realistically they played it. So like, it starts off with like, oh yeah, there's some weird riots going on, and it just progresses, and then it goes to like the White House, where there's like the Minister of Defense is like, we're declaring martial law effective immediately. We will take no further like they play it all straight. Yeah. And the end, I'm thinking the end is going to be like really cheesy, and then like, oh, and then a zombie breaks into the studio and kills the anchor. But no, there's like, well, I believe we're going to go off the air now. And he looks in the camera's like, honey, get the kids. I'm coming home. I'm like, no, no.
I need to.
Dude, it's crazy. It's actually like there was just a ton of like material that was made to coincide with that movie. Also, the song choice for the opening credits was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, continue on, Phil.
I was gonna say I like Chopping Mall, but except for the parts where they were horny, I liked it though. I guess I'm only going off also this one because someone mentioned it in the notes. Eight-legged freaks.
That was
Yeah.
my.
It's
That was
actually, like, in
my.
terms of I was just gonna say, in terms of a budget, it's like they had enough, they had a lot of money to make that. But in terms of, I think I know what you mean. I guess in terms of it feels like a B movie. I love that. I love that
It's
movie.
it's like straight up trying to be a B movie. It's
Yeah.
not super. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like it didn't have. This is like 2002. It didn't. Weirdly enough,
Yeah.
it didn't have Spider-Man money, but
Mhm.
like it wasn't like super cheap either. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally a B movie. Like it doesn't care if it makes sense. It's just like a fun movie where they kill spiders and spiders kill people. It's fun.
It's great. I remember watching it as a little kid, and I was like, "What's this?" And then I came back to watch it again. I was like, "I love this."
Oh, I used to love it as a kid, even though it kind of scared me because I was like, I didn't like
Aw.
the dog getting eaten by the spider
Yeah.
and
It's
stuff
great.
like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Or the
No,
cat
no.
fighting the spider. It's
Oh God.
or the old person. I don't know. There's like parts of the movie I felt bad. It's
I
like
don't. Yeah,
like
I'm
'cause
not the biggest fan of
I'm
like
like seeing like small or just
helpless
animals.
creatures.
Yeah, animals, because there's like cows that get murdered also, or old people. I'm like, I don't like seeing an old man getting his shit wrecked by a spider. That's
I
not
think,
fun.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun if you detach your empathy a little bit, because otherwise you get sad like me. Like, why am I
Yeah.
getting sad thinking about this?
I've learned
Uh,
after watching certain shows and movies, I'm like, I've learned not to get attached to certain people. Like at the opening of like the first episode of Invincible, where that dad is talking about patching things up with his son-in-law. I'm like, oh, he's about to die,
yeah.
and then he did, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he lived a successful life later on.
And then that convinced me to let my guard down. Like, oh, maybe this show won't be so kill happy. And then it got to the end of the first episode.
Ugh.
Hey,
That's all I got.
that's all you got? All right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just move on to me. Like speaking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like as much as I don't like the characters, it's still a pretty good movie. It does it works very well on creating this really intense environment, especially around the end, uh, where I forgot her name, the main character is on a table with the crazy redneck family, and they're just like uh what is it? Just acting out, hollering. It's such a it really sets this uncomfortable atmosphere uh, during that last segment of the movie.
Which Texas Chainsaw are you talking about? The remake or
the first,
original?
the original first one.
Okay. Just
Uh,
curious.
Then another interesting thing on Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Mhm.
is they don't do loud noise for jump scare. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leatherface just appears and just bonks you in the head.
That
You're
movie's
dead.
like that movie made me jump a couple times, surprisingly, when I first watched. Even when I revisited some of the noises, like the soundtrack's really effective in making it creepy. It sounds like it's something's like scraping against some metal.
Yeah.
It's really
I
cool.
love when horror movies do like subtle scares that you might not even
Yeah.
notice the first time around. Like I love how in Halloween you'll just like in like the original Halloween the
Yeah.
main character will just be in class, but like you'll see Michael Myers just walking in the background, like or just standing there watching her.
Like
Yeah.
Slender Man.
Yes.
Yes.
Honestly, a lot of those Slenderman series have a lot of cues taken from old slasher films, like
Oh yeah, totally.
100%.
Alright, and then to continue on with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I like the second one more than the first one, even though it's worse. I just enjoy its campier nature of it. It's way more absurd, but I I was more entertained with that. Just like the chainsaw fight scene at the end with Leatherface and that one cop obsessed with them.
Oh yeah, that movie. The thing about that movie is that it's both terrible and good at the same time. It manages to balance.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like the only like the worst thing in that movie is just horny Leatherface.
Oh yeah, that scene. The dry humping with the fucking
dry,
chainsaw.
dry humping the ice.
Yep.
I never got to that.
Also, there's that.
Been blessed.
Didn't he cross dress in that movie with like a makeup freaking leather mask?
I think you're thinking of.
No, that's the first one where he had a fancy. He put makeup on.
Oh.
I think it was
Oh,
the first
yeah.
one.
I
But
remember.
I'm thinking
I
of
think
another movie for some reason.
I remember in the third movie, it like starts with Leatherface holding aloft like a silver chainsaw and light reflecting off of it in this epic scene. You know, it is freaking like He-Man holding up the power sword, but it's Leatherface holding up his chainsaw.
Right.
Right. But yeah. Anyway, like, and for best movies I've seen is I'll just say like the Peter Jackson earlier stuff, like Bad Taste, Dead Alive, and Meet the Feebles. They're
Ooh.
they're all pretty good. I thought they were pretty good. They're pretty short as well, but the
Right.
sense of I don't know, like he just the way he utilizes gore is pretty well made. Uh, Even though everything seems to be done in just one shot, in like one small room, wherever, it's so impressive what like Peter Jackson accomplishes with very little. And I think all the characters in these movies are are fun. You know, even the
Yeah.
random background characters. Like in Dead Alive, I love the priest in Dead Alive. You know, especially that scene where he fights zombies in the graveyard.
Oh yeah.
I kick arse for the Lord. That seems great.
It's very
or
good.
or like the main character from Bad Taste, where he's obviously just fucking insane, but he just keeps going. You know, even when his head just breaks apart, and like, he still just keeps going to hunt down these aliens.
Right.
Let's see, and then uh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space has creative death scenes. It's probably the first movie I've seen that with creative death scenes.
That's a really fun movie.
Yeah.
The soundtrack to that is amazing.
Yeah.
And I saw that someone put Mars Attack in this list.
Me.
I love that's my favorite Tim Burton movie. I love Mars Attack. I used to watch it all the time as a kid.
Yeah, it's a very fun movie, and it's the end of Tim Burton's prime as the fun director.
That's
I haven't. He's one of my favorite directors, but I have very interesting opinions on him as a fan of his compared to other Tim Burton fans I talk to. Because there's other fans like, oh, I love this and this movie, this movie, this movie. He's like, I love his first 8 movies or whatever. I kind of don't love the rest of them afterwards, but well, some of them I do. But Mars Attacks is really fun. Yeah.
I don't mind his newer stuff. It's just I wish he was more in tune to his creative side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Like what is it? Tim Burton's X-Men, you know?
Tim Burton's X-Men?
The what's her name?
Oh, you mean the school for the
That one. Yes.
what's it called? You said Tim Burton's X-Men's like he did Batman, not I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about. It's based on a book. What's it
Miss
called?
Peregrine,
Miss Peregrine School for Peculiar. I really thought that movie was dull, but I don't know.
I know, like it has an interesting concept And
I also saw it I saw it years ago. That maybe I'd like it better a second time. But also, oh yeah, I was also sick when I watched it. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I was
No.
just
No,
sick
no,
the whole
like
time watching. I was like blowing my nose every
it
minute. It's like,
it is a dull movie, but it has interesting ideas in it, like how
yeah.
they're stuck in a time loop, or they are just goth X-Men. Like,
Wait, you said goth?
Well, I
What
mean, the
movie?
original
Goth?
like Bryan Singer X-Men movie, they might as well be goth because they're all wearing
Yeah.
they're
black
all
and
wearing
like
black.
leather.
Black leather.
Yeah,
And they
it
can't
looks
and they
cool.
can't move
People,
around in them.
people hate it, but
Ooh.
I don't care. It looks cool, man.
Like, have you seen that clip of like the actors like
Yeah,
on
they try
set?
to
They're just
jump
like,
over legs and they can't because their legs are way too stiff to do anything.
Oh God, those suits were terrible.
They
Yeah.
look fashionable. I don't care. I'm gonna go to a
They
club
were
dressed in that.
they were dark, edgy trash.
fashionable
No.
but not functional.
I
Like
don't. Yeah,
watch.
that's just like me.
But
I
yeah,
can dress very nicely, but I do not know how to function on my own.
the I
Mood.
Mood.
I feel like the Miss Peregrine movie would have been better if Tim Burton was just a little more wacky on his
Yeah, that's his
directing. Yeah,
problem because Mars Attacks is like really fun, or Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Like he's just or Beetlejuice. He's just like a really fun director and Miss. I keep calling it. I keep wanting to call it Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but that's a completely different movie.
just call
The
it Tim.
Chadwick Boseman movie.
Just call it Tim Burton's X-Men.
Yeah. I keep forgetting the name. I keep calling it Ma Rainey. That's a very different movie.
Wait,
Tim Burton's X-Men.
Terry Gilliam's Watchmen.
It's just not. It's just a little too not fun. I don't know.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's too serious. I don't know. But continue. Dear
Yeah.
top.
Let's see what else. Oh, I put in The Room, like, cause I really
You're tearing me apart, Tuner.
you're tearing me apart. Just it's just like, I don't know. I've seen it so many times
yeah.
that it holds a special place in my heart. It Even though it is terrible, I fucking love The Room.
Yeah.
Tom,
Fine.
Tommy Wiseau. I love it when Tommy Wiseau is on screen. Whenever he's off screen, it's like,
Yeah.
please come back, Tommy.
Come
Why
back.
is everyone else bothering? This is clearly Tommy's movie.
Because everyone's trying to take it very serious. I mean, Tommy is too, but like everyone's trying to be like professional and like kind of rein it in, and then Tommy's just like, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know something's up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to introduce you to the new Joker.
That's all I had to say. I'll pass it on to Hollow.
Okay, I have a bit of a list.
Go on.
So the first movie I want to mention that I really like, but I'm not sure if it qualifies as a B movie, but it definitely has been inspired by B movies, and that kind of storytelling is RoboCop.
It's a
Oh,
really good
totally.
movie. I didn't think of it, but yeah. Well, I mean,
Have you seen the
It's a pretty-
alternate cut that's more violent?
I have not. I don't think I have. But
The
now
scene
that
where like
know
apparently
if
the
I
scene
have or
where like
haven't.
RoboCop shoots the guy for in like the demo, he just turns him into pudding for like 5 minutes.
Holy
Oh.
shit.
No.
time after I'm done here, I'm gonna be looking some stuff up for sure.
Of course, there's our RoboCop remake.
Yeah, that one's
God.
funny. Heard of it through Pan talking about it on the
Yeah,
podcast. And
it's
it's like,
good.
that was
That-
fun.
It's basically just this. I don't know if it's like. Well, it's definitely not accurate, but I don't know if how
It's based on the scene where RoboCop stops like a rapist.
Yeah, but like there's more that keep coming out.
And RoboCop keeps having very peculiar aim,
He keeps shooting them in the doink.
and it's very graphic and very not
Yeah.
safe for work, but it's funny.
They exploded a ton of
CBT.
sausages.
RoboCop has been trained with CBT.
Cock and ball choice.
This may include directly painful activities such as genital spanking, bruising, ball busting.
Oh, I remember. I was flipping through the dreaded app, the Twitter, one time, and for some reason somebody posted a video of some chick jumping on a dude's crotch
Sweet, dude.
with like a
Oh, yeah.
specialized separation device. So she's just jumping on the member and the beans, you know? Purely that.
I
And
mean,
it
I
was
saw
just-
one video. It was like a girl doing a sweet front flip gainer onto a guy's nuts.
Oh
Oof.
god,
Oof.
painful. Oof, ichi.
You could actually hear him crack.
Oh god.
Eh.
Ah.
Hey, Hollow, go on with your list.
Yes.
Okay. So the next one, Who Killed Captain Alex? Freaking
Oh,
love
yeah.
that movie.
Everyone,
Ugandan cinema is something else, dude.
everyone Uganda knows kung fu.
I have
Sirius.
I have Who Killed Captain Alex on DVD and have a frame of a bunch of stuff from the film that I got in the mail with the
Yeah.
DVD.
Yeah,
So
that's
I love
Go
that
ahead.
movie.
that's such a good and he never expected that movie to go outside Uganda, blew up on the internet.
yeah.
That movie had a budget of $200.
It had a budget of like lint, you know,
Yes.
compared to everything else.
He
Money
had to
well
delete
spent.
everything off his computer to make a new movie.
Freaking
Like,
man,
It was
it's
that movie was
inspirational.
the budget was
really-
passion and nothing else. Is great. I
Oh,
love it.
I love that kind of stuff. The next one, Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Obviously, it's freaking one of the classics. It's in the public domain. The way it builds tension and the cinematography, the lighting, everything about that movie is brilliant. And I really want to get the Criterion Collection release of it because it's absolutely gorgeous. The next movie I want to mention, and this is like one of my top favorites, and just top favorites in general, Toxic Avenger, the original.
Yeah.
I still haven't
it-
watched that one.
Oh, I highly recommend it. It's like imagine if RoboCop was a mutant instead of like a
Right.
robot, a cyborg, you know. That's kind of like what Toxic Avenger is. Also, minus about a decent portion of the budget, you know.
Right.
And Toxic, I would not recommend the sequel, though. Like,
Wasn't there an animated series too?
oh yeah, Toxic Crusaders. That was actually pretty good. Toxic Crusaders was fun. Toxic Avenger 2 was honestly freaking sucked. I think that was the one where Toxie fought the devil himself. And then Toxic Avenger 3, Toxie goes to Japan to find his father. And they changed the actors around in the second two movies. And it just overall, they don't flow well. It doesn't fit right. They suck. They honestly suck.
That's a bummer.
And the recent one, the fourth one, Citizen Toxie, it's good. Not as good as the original, but definitely better than the second two.
Right.
Totally. But yeah, the next one, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the original. Fucking love that movie with King Caesar and all that stuff.
Right.
I have it. I have it on my list to watch, but I haven't watched it yet.
The special effects, I think that was the first Godzilla movie I saw, or at least one of them. Like one of the two. And it was brilliant, the special effects. Mechagodzilla is such a great antagonist in that movie. And the Caesar song. Just fucking, literally, they stopped the movie for like a good 2 minutes for a character to sing a song to a kaiju to wake it up. I'm not kidding.
Cinema.
Then I have a few more. Ricky-O, the story of Ricky. It's a grindhouse kung fu movie based off of a manga. And Wang did a video on it recently, and it's just brilliantly brutal and gory. Like, there's this one scene where you have this guy who's like a wood carver, and he tries to use a wood carver against the bad guys, and the bad guys grab the wood carver and just shred his face.
Jesus, what movie is this?
Ricky-O, the story of Ricky.
The story of
All
Ricky,
right.
the story of
There's
Ricky
another-
Bobby.
So Ricky, before Ricky ends up in jail because the entire film takes place in prison. His girlfriend gets killed by a drug dealer who drugs her up, and then she like walks off the roof and she dies. And you see the body hit the ground, and it's clearly a dummy. And then Ricky finds like the drug dealer and does the same thing to him, except he like then jumps off the roof or something and lands on the drug dealer. Oh yeah, that's the movie. Occult just posted a picture of it, or like a fan-made poster. And in general, yeah, the film is wonderfully brutal. There's an art to like gore and violence, and Ricky-O is just like the perfect summation of that. And an honorable mention goes to House of a Thousand Corpses. The only reason House of a Thousand Corpses is really getting an honorable mention is because of Captain Spaulding. You know Captain Spaulding, the clown guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I freaking love Captain Spaulding. He's terrible. He's like Frank if he was a murderer. I mean, more of a murderer. Because I'm pretty sure Frank is a murderer of some caliber already.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And yeah, just there's also two other movies I want to mention, but I'm not sure if they would be considered B movies or not.
Go ahead.
They're animated films, and I'm going to go deeper into them at a later date probably, but I just want to mention them. War of the Servers and Community Event. They're animated films made using Gmod with 0 to no budget, you know? And they're very like sci-fi themed, you know? But yeah, I'll go into them in a later date.
All right, cool.
Anyways, Alex, you go.
Okay, there are two movies I want to bring up. One is a movie that I haven't seen, but I want to give a shout out because I do really want to see it. It is a Japanese movie called As the Gods Will. It's this really weird like horror movie, death game type deal taking place in in a Japanese school where a bunch of kids like are placed against like different like figurines to play school games. Like there's a Daruma doll that forces everyone to play red light, green light, and if you're seen, your head explodes into red marbles.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know.
Yeah,
that
that movie. Yeah, I know that movie.
That's on Netflix, I think.
It's on Netflix? Ooh, I gotta
Yeah.
put that on my watch list then. But it looks from what I've seen of it, it's very unapologetically strange, and it looks like a lot of fun. And another one that I want to mention I brought up earlier is Shin Godzilla. I saw that one recently. And one thing that I really appreciate about it is like the original Godzilla was like meant to comment on nuclear warfare and like the invention of the atomic bomb and what that means for society and everything. And I think it was really clever what Shin Godzilla did. So like in the same way that the original Godzilla was a critique of nuclear warfare, the Shin Godzilla was like Fukushima disaster in 2011, and there are a lot of like just straight up direct references to like the tsunami and the nuclear plants and everything. Like when because in the movie Shin Godzilla evolves, so his first form he crawls onto land and he's like basically knocking a bunch of stuff out of the way, and the way he's like destroying everything looks like a tsunami, just like wrecking the landscape. And also there's a lot of criticism of just like government bureaucracy, and it's very tongue in cheek too. Like all the government will be in like one room having a meeting. It's like, I'm not sure about this, we'll need to reconvene, and then they'll go to another room and start another meeting as Godzilla continues to destroy the city. And it's by the one of the guys behind Evangelion is one of the directors for it. And it definitely has that kind of energy to it. The design of Godzilla is terrifying.
Yeah, he's very creepy looking. He looks
Yeah,
Yeah,
half.
he's
got,
not
like-
that creepy looking.
He looks half
Well,
dead.
Well,
He
yeah,
looks
because
what?
he's got like lifeless fish eyes. And one
Oh.
detail that was really cool that someone pointed out, that my friend pointed out to me, is that his eyes are the same size. So like when he ends up, so like when he's on land, his eyes are like huge. They're basically like lifeless fish. They look like googly eyes. But as he gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the eyes stay the same size, and then it gets
Oh.
reaches the point where like his eyes are like the normal size. But like that, but it's a cool way to like tease how big he's going to become by showing
Yeah.
his normal sized eyes on his small form. Also, in his first form, he's like when he's walking on land, he's like bleeding out of his gills profusely. And every time Godzilla like does his signature roar, he only does it when he's in pain. It's
Oh,
like it's very brutal.
yeah.
I like it a lot.
I haven't watched Shin Godzilla. Like, I think
Would recommend. It's
I
very much like
I did
it also pays a lot of homage to the original Japanese film as well.
I did see Godzilla Singular Point, and I heard somewhere that that is kind of like a spin-off from the Shin Godzilla universe, because
Right.
Shin Godzilla was like a reboot from Godzilla itself.
Right. It's meant to be sort of a hard reboot of the original film. Like basically Godzilla, like what would happen if Godzilla made landfall in modern day? And it is very much like what kind of role what would unfold in Godzilla with like modern bureaucracy and different technology being made available. And it's like an international thing too. Like the United States becomes involved at one point, Germany, France. It's like an international affair that isn't just confined to Japan. It's very cool.
I had to watch it sometime.
Would recommend. There is a lot more emphasis on like people strategizing a way to beat Godzilla, but I'd say it does a good job to stay engaging throughout.
1 hour and a half of just people talking about fake
There are
science
some
mumble
elements.
wonder.
There are some elements of comedy too. There's like a scene where like a government official is like giving a press release is giving like a press release and just like, do not worry, there is no fear. Godzilla will never. Is like the creature known as Godzilla will never make landfall. And right as he says that, there's like someone that walks up and whispers into his ears like, whispers in his ears like, he what? And then it immediately cuts to Godzilla running through a city.
He what?
Yeah. It's
Honest,
very over the top, tongue in cheek.
I wish Shin Godzilla would fight Destroya.
Ooh.
That would honestly be a really cool fight.
Yeah.
Destroyer is my favorite monster design. But yeah.
I
Anyway,
have a chibi Destroya figure somewhere.
Ooh.
anything else to add, Alex? Too?
I think I think that is all I have to mention for now.
All right, cool. We'll move on to Alex and Menace.
Alex 1. I don't know, it's just funny that you guys call him Alex too. It's like thing 1 and thing 2. I don't know, it's funny.
Alex Prime, go ahead.
Prime. But don't give me too much credit. For best ones I've seen, well, someone already mentioned, like Pale already talked about Eight-Legged Critics. I think that's a really fun movie, but we already talked about that. Texas Chainsaw, that's really fun. Killer Clowns. What am I thinking about? Mars Attacks. Oh, I mean, it's a short film, but I'm counting it anyway. Like the music video, the full length music video for Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's like a complete homage to B movies, with like the whole kind of horror movie setting and the creature effects and all that stuff. Like I love that video. And I think it's like really entertaining, and not just like the song, of course, but just kind of like the creature effects, which are actually pretty like cool. It's directed by the same guy who did an American Werewolf in London. Forget John Landis, I think. No, not John Landis. Oh yeah, it is John Landis. Yeah. I was thinking of Max Landis. Like that's a very different person.
John Landis John Landis ended up getting someone killed, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah. Twilight Zone. He got 2 children and 1 adult male killed.
Yeah.
2 of them were decapitated.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
one of them was partially decapitated.
Well,
Like the
let's
top
not-
of their skull was cut off.
And
And
they
you can see
recorded
it in
this.
the video.
It was
Uh,
it was like a huge set piece, so they had like multiple cameras going from different angles because they didn't want to miss it.
And it was a helicopter that did it, and you can see the head, and it goes flying.
Yeah, and what's messed up is that like they basically a bunch of people were telling him it's like, no, we can't have the helicopter get this close to like the pyrotechnic effects. It's dangerous. But he just said like, no, get lower.
Oh,
And the kids were illegally working as actors on the film, and so on and so.
no.
A ton of shady shit went into it, to the
And
point
he-
where it was like it was inevitable that this was going to happen.
Yeah,
and Landis
and
was completely acquitted, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
he
people want to say Michael Jackson's the danger to kids, but look who actually endangered the kids.
Yeah.
huh?
Did Michael
right.
Jackson decapitate children?
No.
probably.
No,
Oh.
there's no evidence. Fuck off.
I mean,
I mean, you go to Neverland Ranch. I mean.
yeah, that's the
go
thing.
there.
The man had secret rooms at Neverland Ranch. Like, what do you think? Why would you have secret rooms?
Yeah.
It's
Why would
cool.
you have that?
Because it's cool.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it
cool to
is.
have secret rooms.
It is, but when
It's
you're
like-
accused of like something like that, why would you keep rooms secret?
Why?
My question is, where's Bobo? Where's Michael Jackson's monkey?
I
Is-
think
Oh,
he
you mean
got
Bubbles.
taken. I
Okay.
think he got taken to like a shelter for chimps.
I hope he's okay, because that monkey has probably seen some shit.
Oh, yeah. Statistically speaking, he's seen some stuff.
I don't get it.
the Michael Jackson's pet chimp.
Bubbles.
Yeah, I know, but what do you mean he's seen stuff?
Oh, they're
Because
making
Mike-
jokes about MJ's
because-
accusations.
Oh.
Because Mikael
Oh.
Jackson.
Listen, he was proven innocent, and this is not what the topic's about. He's
Look,
talking about
it's
the
okay,
music
it's okay.
video.
Look,
Oh,
Bubbles,
just like
Bubbles was in,
OJ. Just like OJ.
Bubbles
Michael
was in
Jackson
the
and OJ have a lot in common.
OJ was
Bubbles was
literally
in The
caught
Animal with
red-handed,
Rob
though. That's the
Schneider.
thing.
No, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Anyway,
No.
to stay on topic, guys.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is not going to turn into me defending Michael Jackson because then I look like the bad guy here.
No, I'll help.
Michael
Oh,
Jackson's
look,
Thriller.
let's all go
Like a
down the
nice
line
guy. I
and
don't
say
think he
something nice
actually
about Michael Jackson,
did.
so that way we
No.
all get the.
No, let's just talk about the video. The video is really cool. Again, the kind of the
Yeah.
B movie aesthetic that because they hired John Landis and the werewolf effects are really cool.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
the most expensive. I mean, it's a short film, but it is also like a music video, so it's kind of hard to talk about it like that. But at the time, it was the most expensive music video made at the time because there's like a ton of creature effects and there's like the dance choreography at the end, which is really
Yeah.
fun. I used
Yeah.
to do that. Like I used to try. I couldn't
Aw.
when I was younger to try to do that dance. The thing with they go kind of back and forth and like they raise their hands and stuff. Like yeah, good
That's
times.
cute.
Yeah, I was a really big Michael Jackson fan as a kid.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, but that's one.
Yes.
And I in the document I put a bunch of quotation marks, question marks, because I said not because someone mentioned Night of the Living Dead, but I don't know if I want to count that because kind of the concept of a B movie is like they're kind of fun and airy movies, like kind of versus Night of the Living Dead's very kind of laden with like social and political commentary.
I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in a similar boat, yet we consider it a B movie.
I don't know. They feel a little different, but sure, if we want to. I mean, I'll just throw some flowers at it. Night of the Living Dead's a really good movie, not just for its social and political commentary, although I do really like that, because it's kind of a thinker, especially because it's on such a downer note, and not like in the way you would think of like, oh, the guy dies at the end of a zombie
It's
movie.
sudden.
But
It's
more,
really sudden.
Yeah, and it's not even just because like again, it's like oh, a guy dies at the end of a zombie movie. It's just more like
You
this is
think he's out of the
depressing 'cause-
woods.
Yeah,
You think
yeah,
he's
'cause
out
The
of-
it's-
guy
he's out of the
dies
woods.
in that way at the end of a zombie movie, you know?
Yeah, and it doesn't, and there's kind of the ambiguity of like, because there's like these kind of white Southerners of like, do they know that was like, did they think it was a zombie, or did they like, no, it wasn't, but they just saw an opportunity to like, oh, he's a zombie, shoot him, you know?
They had an
Yeah.
opportunity to be the racist.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. No, but it's like a cool movie for all that stuff and kind of how it builds tension and the kind of the camera angles, it makes it feel uneasy. The lighting, like it's in black and white to kind of mask its low budgetness, but it's everyone in this cramped room, like it's really cool. I really like it a lot.
It's also
And
in the,
what?
it's also in the public domain, so anybody can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I
Free-
watched it on Halloween on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good movie. And
Would you?
what?
Nothing. Just made a. Never mind.
That's
Okay.
fine. And Enter the Dragon, someone wrote down here, but I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I just remember it was really cool because Bruce Lee's really awesome, and it's just like seeing him because he's like legit. He's not like fucking, an actor kind of pretending to do the thing. Like he knows how to actually like fight and do his
Right.
things. It's like it's really cool.
I really need to get around to watching Kung Fu Hustle.
I need to watch
Heard
more.
that one's really good.
The only martial arts movie I've seen technically is Enter the Dragon, but that's like
Kung Fu Hustle
childhood,
is
that's a childhood classic. I used to watch that as a kid, and it's like, man, that's such a cool movie. I want to be like Bruce Lee. I want to be like ripped and like kick ass. But look at me now. I'm thin.
Even more kick ass.
Can't fight.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
You're
They're
twink,
really
You're based.
yes.
Yes.
Based on what?
In Mars Attacks.
based.
Oh yeah, Mars Attacks.
Yeah, well, someone mentioned that earlier, but Tooner mentioned that. That's like a fun movie. Well, I don't know. You guys already talked about all the ones. The only one I kind of brought in is Thriller, and you guys just went into like, well, actually, Michael Jackson. So you're wrong for liking
I
it.
didn't say that. All right, I
I
didn't
didn't-
besmirch
I
the name of
didn't.
the
I
MJ.
didn't say that.
I said
Sure.
It was all only implications.
Oh, okay. Well,
don't know.
censor me saying the words
I
of
was-
to keep
No,
the
I
audience suspended.
I actually do have to censor it though.
Oh, my bad. Well, whoops.
Okay, replace the P word with based.
Michael Jackson is based. It sounds somehow worse because you're implying the crime that he was accused of is based.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's even
I
worse.
mean-
Censor that with Woomy.
Woomy.
Okay. And yeah, I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah.
And is this year we're moving on to the Evil Dead segment, or are we talking
Okay.
about that? Because we haven't mentioned that, and that precisely because we're waiting to talk about it or something.
Yes.
Okay, I have a hot take.
No,
That's
Uh,
the Evil
well,
Dead
well.
film.
Well, we'll wait for you for your hot take.
Sam Raimi is an evil man.
Let's just
No,
go
that-
with Alex and Menace on Evil Dead. Yeah, like what you had to say about it, Alex?
Oh, let me see, because I recently rewatched the original Evil Dead this past Halloween. It's been years since I saw it prior to that. Like I saw it as a kid. It was actually the first, I think, horror movie I accidentally watched when I was like 6 because I saw a VHS tape of it in my aunt's closet room thing, and I was like, I saw the back cover and saw kind of like the lady that's like possessed hiding, the one that they lock underneath the floorboards, and it's like, this looks scary. I want to watch it. And then I watched it, and I was, for many years, I still was kind of traumatized by the pencil stabbing thing and other stuff like that. But watching it again, it's very fun. I guess some people don't like it, and there's like the tree scene, which there's a reason Sam Raimi never did that again. But it's like such a visceral movie. Like it's really cool, just kind of watching all the special effects and the blood and that stuff, and kind of this creepy atmosphere. And again, his kind of trademark camera work. It's I don't know. It's very fun. It's very exhilarating. It's like very over the top. It's very, I don't know. I really like the first one, and the second one, which is the one people tend to like more. I need to watch it again, but it's also kind of fun. But I do kind of miss the horror vibes of the first one. But the second one is still funny and very entertaining. And Army of Darkness I haven't seen in years, so I don't remember much about it, to be honest. Other than, I don't know. I don't have much to say about Army of Darkness. I haven't seen it in years, but I like all those movies overall. They're fun, and they gave Sam Raimi like his big launching off point, and he should make more horror movies. They're fun. Alex too.
All right, cool. Yeah, Alex.
Two
too.
Alex.
What is the question?
It's just Evil Dead in general.
What do you think
Evil
of those
Dead.
movies?
I still need to see them. I've been like every Halloween, I'm like, I'm
Whoa.
finally gonna watch Evil Dead, and I
Time out.
never
Haven't
do.
seen it?
Oh god.
How?
But
Let's beat up Alex, too.
I do know a few things about it. I know like the second one is basically a remake of the first, but more goofy.
Yes.
And should I
Rem-
see the first one or just go straight into the second?
I think you should see the
both.
first one.
You should
It's
see,
still like a yeah.
You should see both.
Okay.
Oh,
And I've heard but I've heard Evil Dead is a very fun time. Very
Yes.
goofy and over the top, and also Army of Darkness.
Yeah, that leans the furthest away from horror. It's more of a fantasy film. But yeah.
Just like leans all the way in.
Yeah.
And he goes like, "This is my boomstick." I know about that. I know he's like, I know he says groovy.
'Cause he's a groovy guy.
There's a scene where he laughs really hard and he's having a great time. And there's a lovely scene with a tree where nothing bad happens.
okay.
Absolutely. All right. Anything
So-
else? Anything else, Alex? Sue?
I guess I need to put that on my watch list.
All right. We'll move on to Hollow.
Okay. My favorite film of the Evil Dead series is Army of Darkness. Straight up, I freaking love Army of Darkness. I love the Ray Harryhausen homage with the skeleton army. All the freaking special effects in that are brilliant. The thing with Batu Barada Nikto with the Book of the Dead is
Oh.
brilliantly funny. And the thing about it is that the theatrical ending where Ash ends up back in modern time and kills a bunch of Deadites and S-Smart, Shop
Mhm.
Smart, Shop S-Smart. I hate the theatrical ending. I think the original ending for Army of Darkness, where Ash oversleeps and ends up in the year 3000, is the best one.
Yeah, that was the alternate ending.
Yeah, that was the original intended ending, and
Right.
I think it just fits. It fits
It-
way better.
It fits Ash's character of being
Being a
Ki-
fuck up,
kind of a dumbass.
kind of like a fuck up who somehow succeeds at every turn, if that makes sense.
He fucks up so
Yeah.
hard that he can't get possessed. Yeah.
And also, have any of you seen the show Ash vs. Evil Dead?
I've been wanting to, and I've never
I've-
gone around to it.
I've seen it.
I
It's
w-
great.
I haven't watched it all the way through yet, so no spoilers. But I've watched a bit of it, and I've loved it so far.
I've heard a lot of it is just like I've heard a big joke for that one is just like Ash being like, "I'm getting too old for this."
It's definitely a big joke, but I never felt like it was getting gratuitous, at least from what I've watched so far. It could get gratuitous, but it keeps the action going, it keeps the gore going. It never like drops the ball, I feel like. It never feels like it's slowing down and I'm getting bored, you know?
Right.
So yeah, Evil Dead, the franchise is brilliant. Also, it's canon that Ash met Spider-Man before he
Sick.
turned into a zombie.
Peaks of time.
Nani?
Yeah,
I'm
and Marvel
Spider-Man, and I'm just like.
Oh, yeah,
you
Marvel
have my
Zombies?
attention?
Marvel Zombies meets Army of Darkness, where Ash ends up in the Marvel Zombie universe right when the outbreak was happening.
That
Teams
sounds
up with
neat.
teams up with Punisher and eventually gets eaten by Howard the Death Zombie. I'm not kidding. That shit traumatized me when I was a kid.
I can imagine. That sounds horrifying.
Seeing one of my favorite comic characters eating one of my favorite film characters, it's just, it is traumatizing. It was very traumatizing for me. I spilt my mac and cheese all over the computer.
Oh no!
It spooked me that much. I'm
That's
not
the ultimate
kidding.
tragedy.
Mac and
I lost.
It's
my
like,
mac-
oh man, this day couldn't get any worse. Spills mac and cheese.
Not the mac and cheese.
Oh yeah, I remember. It was terrible. And to this day, I still hate Marvel Zombies. I have a weird love-hate relationship with that story. and
Right.
Marvel Zombies.
Spider-Man kills Aunt May and Mary Jane. It's very not fun.
You see, in one comic panel, you see him holding like the decapitated head of Aunt May.
And he's like in anguish because he's still sentient.
Oh yeah, all
Yeah.
the zombies are still sentient. They're still the characters. They just have an unquenchable hunger.
That makes it even more fucked up.
That
The
makes
thing-
me
the-
sad.
In fact, it's a running gag in the strip, in the comic, that whenever Spider-Man has a full stomach and is eaten, he becomes exceedingly depressed and remorseful, and people are like,
Jesus.
okay, we need to check if these zombies have eaten. Hey, Spidey, remember Aunt May? And Spidey's just goes into a traumatic crying episode.
That's just me, man.
I
Like,
know.
what? Okay. Is there ever a point in the comic where they say like, oh, let's go to a morgue and give them like bodies to eat?
Oh no, the thing about Marvel Zombies is they eat all of the Earth's population, and they end up eating all. The thing they end up eating Galactus and becoming the collective Galacti, and they eat the entire Marvel universe. All the people in the Marvel universe end up getting eaten,
Goodbye.
except for like a few people on Earth, like a handful of people on Earth.
Except Sandman, who's immune to it.
Oh yeah, Sandman. It turns out like there's two Marvel Zombies continuities, and in the
Oh
second
yeah,
one,
because
Sandman-
isn't there one where like Spider-Man tries to warn him about something, but Sandman thinks he's a zombie, so he just explodes him from the inside out.
Oh no! What happens is the Sinister Six are attacking a museum. Zombie Spider-Man shows up and kills them all. Sandman gets away, and the Spider-Man for this universe shows up. Sandman thinks it's the evil eating Spider-Man and goes inside of him and blows him up
Yeah,
from the
and it's
inside
very
out.
disturbing. I hate when Spider-Man gets brutally murdered. I'm like, stop hurting him.
They're gonna do that in What If, but it's not gonna be as disturbing.
Oh,
as,
they're not.
They're gonna neuter
My
it.
boy.
They're
It's
gonna
probably-
do the thing
it's gonna
about
be
Marvel
boring.
Zombies. The thing about Marvel Zombies is that the only way to do it right is to go all the way, and even then I hate it, but I also kind of love it. It's one of those stories where I can't.
It's
I
something
can't-
experimental that's the thing. Like when it comes to like movies and TV shows, DC is way more experimental than Marvel is. Everyone is losing their minds. Like, whoa, Marvel is doing something so weird. I'm like, dude, DC does stuff like this for breakfast.
Doom Patrol. That
Yeah,
entire
Doom Patrol,
show, comic,
Harley Quinn, Batman meets the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
a lot of experimentation with DC. Granted, their experimentation doesn't always pay off. I
But-
mean, Harley
mean-
Quinn was an okay show, but I couldn't help but coming away from it feeling like they were trying too hard to be something like Adventure
Yeah.
Brothers,
I love the Harley Quinn version of King Shark. He is absolutely adorable.
Oh, I love him too. But I hate their version of Joker. Harley Quinn's version of Joker is just
Toxic, it's typical
Gamer.
toxic boyfriend.
Gamer Joker.
Yeah,
general,
basically, it boiled down Joker to a character who I can't really recognize as Joker. The thing about Joker is that he's petty, but he's petty in a very weird, janky way that isn't properly represented in the show. Like,
Right.
he wouldn't care what Harley Quinn was doing, but he would pettily do something about it, just offhandedly, not really caring about stuff. Because the thing about Joker is he really embodies the idea of fuck it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And yeah, just
Something I saw was like Joker talked about how he was upset that he was working for a Nazi, and then someone commented like, "Oh yeah, because Nazis are all about control and order, and Joker is an agent of chaos, so of course he would hate Nazis."
Oh yeah, that's obvious. I mean, this point was made in like years back during the Captain America Batman crossover.
That happened.
Yeah, Batman met Captain America, and the Joker was working with Red Skull, but didn't realize he was a Nazi until after the fact, and it sparks a civil war between the factions of the Joker and Hydra, and like
Oh,
Bucky
sick.
and Robin meet each other and team up as well.
Well, there's something that we're never gonna see again.
Oh yeah, actually, we may. Believe it or not, we may see that again.
Hold up.
Marvel and DC have been placing a ton of hints in the comics that a crossover is inevitable.
Dude. That would be sick. But what
Like
was
like at the end of Doomsday Clock, it describes Dr. Manhattan talks about the future crises of the DC universe and describes one where the god Thor dies and a jade giant sacrifices itself to save Superman. Now, jade giant, what is that term? Who is referring in that term? Who do we know in comics? The Hulk.
nice.
So yeah, they've been putting a lot of little like details and stuff like that, hinting at a potential crossover, but who knows?
Also,
Interesting.
oh wait, what? We were talking about Evil
Yeah.
Dead. Jesus.
Oh yeah, Evil Dead.
We went to a weird tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what are we talking about?
That tends to
Stuff.
happen.
Yeah.
We went from Evil Dead to Marvel Zombies, from that to like DC experimentation, and so on and so forth.
And onwards and onwards. Anyway, anything else to say, Hollow, about Evil Dead?
Nothing really. I can't think of anything else I want to say specifically. Nah.
Okay.
Move. You can go.
Well, first off, I haven't watched the first two Evil Dead movies. I only seen Army of Darkness.
Oh my god.
Let's ban Tooner again. Beat him up.
No.
Cock and ball trick time.
Oh.
CBT.
You too, Alex.
And then
Okay.
in Army
Because
of
you
Dark-
said something. I can't remember. You said something else. Never mind.
And then one thing I like the Army of Darkness is how they make him a new arm with just medieval tools lying around.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. It's pretty cool.
It's
And
just goofy.
just goofy. I seen the series. I really liked it. It, well, I won't say anything because Hollow hasn't finished it yet. But like if you like the alternative ending, the true ending of Army of Darkness, you probably like the ending of the series. Basically, that's all I have to say. And the other thing is just I I don't know why someone saw like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead and thought, you know what, perfect for Spider-Man. Yeah. Perfect director for Spider-Man. Hire him now.
Yes.
It was
It's
a
the
great
best
move.
choice ever.
It was the best choice.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to do a Thor movie in the 80s, and just like, again, I only know this because Jim Peaks of Party. Jim knows so much, and I wish to
He knows
meet him
everything.
one day.
He's like a
Yes.
wise sage.
Jim is my father.
Aw.
No, but
Yeah.
he was like talking to. I remember, and I don't think he was like making up any details. We've seen like Sam Raimi had like a pitch in the '80s for a Thor movie, and apparently it was like really wild. Like he got on the table and like had like all this energy, and then when the meeting ended, everyone just kind of quietly, like okay, thank you, and walked out. And it was because I guess he did not sell them, but he gave so much a performance that it was very awkward to like say like, oh, we're not interested, so we're just gonna walk away or something.
All right.
Yeah, it's never me making a Thor movie. I don't know, but yes, good thing he made Spider-Man.
But yeah, that's all I had to say. I'll just pass it on to Pale.
Right. I'm pretty much like Tudor and Alex here. I haven't all the movies. I've seen part of the first one. And I'm sorry. I haven't seen the whole thing. I'm fake. I'm sorry. I know the main guy, the main character dude, he's hot. There's that.
People think that, yeah.
I guess one little trivial fact is Sam worked on it in his garage with like a group of college friends. I thought that was neat. That's how I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll just move on to the next topic, the RB movies, just schlock. Yeah. And I only put this in here because I read, well, when I was like researching the B movies, I read somewhere where it's like, oh, they're usually just schlock anyway. Uh, so like, what is it? Pale, what are your thoughts about that?
What does Schlock mean again?
Just
Schlock,
garbage.
it's like
Non-important, boring, or not boring, but just like poorly made, no effort.
No, I have to disagree.
I disagree.
They're not Schlock.
Yeah.
Because they, even if it looks like they're not putting effort, they're putting, because they're still hiring actors, and even if the makeup special effects, I'm like, they're still trying their best with what
Oh
they
yeah, there's
got.
just budgetary restraints, all
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorts of stuff.
there's a chance
Yeah.
if you ever see a movie, it's because some effort was put into it. The movies with little effort put into it, usually you will never see because they're like randomly
even-
uploaded to YouTube or something.
Yeah, even
And
when
even
there's
then,
like
there's
a
effort.
higher budget, you can tell when a movie doesn't have effort.
So no,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not
I mean,
Schlock.
I wouldn't say effort, just at least some passion behind it. Like they're trying the bare minimum. It's like, yeah, this works, whatever, you know.
All right. Anything else to add, Pale?
That's about it.
All right. I'm on the same boat. Like, I don't think they're schlock. Like, just like some of them are bad, but I don't think like the majority are just uh pointless. You know, like, they're still fun to watch. Most of them. But yeah. What about you, Hollow?
I think that B movies have the potential to be hot schlock in some cases, but for the most part, they're not, and they're actually they can be fun and interesting. And we mentioned this before the podcast, I think, but sometimes you need a little stupid in your life. You need a little average, kinda, you know.
Yeah.
You need crap can be fun.
You need to break the mold sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
Think outside the box.
Think outside the box. Over
Oh, yeah,
all over the box.
Think outside the bun.
No, think inside the bun, but outside the box.
Yes.
All right. What about you, Alex? Too.
I think that like B movies, because of like I feel like B movies will often be a lot more bold in their stylistic choices. They'll be more I kind of mentioned it before, they'll be a lot more like upfront with like the story they're trying to tell, with like symbolism and things like, there'll be a lot more. Also, B movies have like more kind of have more wiggle room to experiment because they're not seen as like major money makers or blockbusters. So because of that, you can get like a ton of like really interesting and bizarre stuff that you wouldn't really be able to get in like a typical AAA blockbuster. And I think in that
Yeah.
regard, like B movies can have a lot of value to them and really help fill out the field of like films being released. It's something like a B movie. I want to be. I don't want a B movie that's like trying. Like I don't want a B movie that's trying to be something that it isn't. And I don't want it for there to be a B movie that just says, "Oh, we're a B movie. We don't have to try." I love it when like a director knows that it's a B movie or something along those lines, but like takes full advantage of the freedom that gives them to make something that's really unique.
Yeah.
Cool. All
Very
right.
eloquently stated.
We'll move
Thank you.
on to Alex and Menace.
No, I don't have anything really to add to the schlock thing. Just kind of, I already kind of made my little comments throughout. Just no, there's effort put into it. Kind of reasons that Pale and Alex and basically all you guys already said. So yeah.
All right, cool. We'll move on to the next one. The last topic is just others. Like anything else you guys want to add to the conversation? Yeah.
Not that I
Starting
can
with-
think of.
I have.
We'll start from Alex and Menace.
Yes.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, I was like, no one wrote anything down. It's like, let me write. I was gonna say like kind of I guess like its impact, like they're considered not very kind of B movies by principle, I guess, are typically considered. Well, I mean, they're called B movies for a reason because they're not the A movies. Like they're just kind of like, they used to be because movies used to do like like kind of a two movie thing where it's like you get the first movie, which is the one everyone wants to watch, and then the second movie is like, it just fills up time, just put it there. Um, but it's interesting how we as a culture tend to kind of have such an interest in it. Like it definitely makes an impact. And I said like because there's like a fair amount of homage films, like whether it be like movies about B movie directors or people who make B movies like Ed Wood, or Dolomite is My Name, which they're the same writers, I think if I'm correct. Yeah, they're the same writers, not directors but writers. About like Ed Wood or Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite. And they're really good. They're really good movies. Ed Wood's one of my favorite movies, but it's just kind of like the fascination of like how did this like technically poorly made film somehow end up kind of having a legacy and kind of being watched by a lot of people and stuff like that, and like the process of making them is cool and whatever.
Yeah.
Or even just kind of movies like that are not homages to like a director, but they clearly kind of, I mean, not homages, not about like people who make B movies, but they very clearly kind of have a style that's reminiscent of it or makes a ton of references. Like Paranorman is very kind of drenched in this sort of like B movie type aesthetic with like the town and sort of like the monsters, and it's kind of goofy and it's at times a little bit a little intentionally kind of a little crass with its humor and its jokes, because sort of like B movies where they can be kind of crass and kind of just kind of do whatever they want kind of without caring for subtlety and whatever. Or Pulp Fiction. Well, I mean, just Tarantino's film career really.
Yeah.
Like there's just kind of like a lot of that over the top like kind of schlocky qualities, and or even again Tim Burton's own work, like not just Mars Attacks but uh all of his earlier movies kind of have like little runs of kind of B movie schlock of like kind of over the top. It's a little goofy, it's a little out there, like it's campy. So with I said Tim Burton or Tarantino, like with again Pulp Fiction or like the Kill Bill movies and stuff like that. I don't know, like it's there's just something to be said about like these movies that are considered B tier and not as good as like A tier movies that kind of elicit such a interest from our culture that I don't know. I just find that very cool that they're able to do so much.
Yeah.
Very insightful. What about you, Alex? Too. I know you said that you didn't really have anything, but did you think of something?
I can't really think of anything else to say. I just I am glad to see that like B movies are still living on and still and like a lot of directors, even like making blockbuster movies, will take some of that energy. They'll be more willing to experiment and make bold choices and like impose restraints on like effects and budget just to like keep that kind of feeling alive. Like a B movie used to be like something made to describe a type of movie because of like, oh, it had budgetary restraints. It had to be a B movie because of like just the kind of production it was. But now people go out of their way to sort of recreate that style and people like basically they knew it could be endearing and they found value in it, and now it's being used to sort of enhance the movie-going experience.
Interesting. All right. What about you, Hollow?
Well, I have two things. So first off, Devo, the band,
Yes.
if you're familiar.
Yeah.
That band is drenched in B movie, and I freaking love them. If you've ever seen any of their music videos, it's total B movie cheese and camp all the way. And
I'm mainly familiar with the video for Whip It, but I have a friend who's a huge Devo fan, and I'm kind of aware of their aesthetic and all that stuff. Yeah, they're very, very hokey, intentionally hokey.
Their second music video is like has a short film introduce it, and it's fucking weird. Like at one point, there's a bunch of guys in like plastic bags twitching around on a table with a bunch of science students, like freaking chanting over them and crap.
All right.
It's called the music video and song is called Jacko Homo, and it is it is one of the freaking weirdest. It's some of the weirdest stuff I've seen, and I freaking love them. And the other thing I wanted to
Homo.
yeah, I just posted it in the
Yes.
podcast place, and yeah, it is. Their stuff is weird, and if you have only seen Whip It or anything like that, I highly recommend checking out their catalog of music videos and stuff. Further into their catalog of music videos, because oh, it's brilliant stuff.
Cool.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that I've been working on an idea recently for a comic that is very Grindhouse influenced, and Grindhouse is like a very subsect of B movie, and it's about a clown super. Imagine if Captain Spaulding got combined with Guts from Berserk and went around the United States from the 50s to the 80s. And that's kind of this idea I've been working on called Clown Fuck.
Clown.
Yeah,
I like.
so far.
You had me at the title.
Oh yeah, Clown Fuck. It's about a guy who's a clown.
And he
who-
fucks.
And he fucks.
Oh no, this is lewd.
No, he does. He doesn't fuck. He's a
Oh, no,
clown
he-
fuck.
It's like saying like he is a fuck. Like he's a
That's
he's a crazy
what the
guy.
yeah. He kills people, but for the greater good. He goes around the United States like finding cults and stuff
Oh.
Ooh,
and brutally killing them.
sounds fun.
Slasher movie style. And yeah, I've
Yeah.
been working on the idea and the lore of the character, and there will be a fight between him and Dracula at some point
Nice.
All right, cool.
in the story. But yeah, it's been fun. I've also thought up like a bunch of B movie monster type stories.
Wishing you the
Very
best of
well
luck on
produced.
producing that. That sounds like a fun time.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna freaking experiment with the B movie monster comics.
Yeah.
Illustrated
sweet, man.
characters, but the monsters are gonna be armatures.
Ooh.
Nice.
At least that's my goal.
All right. At least for my part, I don't have anything else to say about B movies except for DreamWorks B movie is a cinematic masterpiece. You know,
Yes.
Jerry Seinfeld is a genius.
Come
But
Yeah,
for
full circle.
B movies in itself, I don't have anything else to add.
The best B movie is B movie.
What about you, Pel? She's muted. I guess we'll just end it.
I wonder what we're gonna do next month. I wonder.
Okay,
Let's talk about C movies.
see movies. But yeah, anyway,
I see movies. Do you?
time to end the podcast, guys. So
Okay.
see you later, YouTube.
Back to the
Bye.
dungeon. Back to the dungeon.
Back to the dungeon,
Bye.
all you.
I gotta take a wicked dose. Goodbye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.